be that small one will be like this, where your face and your head.
Yes,
Picture, fine picture.
Yes.
Okay. I touches it not.
You didn't touch it.
I touches not see it.
Um, but I need my papers, my traveling documents, so I can go back home.
Your child gonna be traveling documents now.
My papers, my papers.
Nyocha, where me and you go get problem. No be say we go get problem, but where me and you go get small problem. Now this your free papers. You wanna travel, kinda bad. I no sabi am.
Oh, for the love of God.
I no sabi am.
I just need my papers so I can fly back home.
Nyocha, you get feathers. You dey fly? You won't fly go where?
Never mind. Where's your brother, by the way?
Ebuka. Hey, Ebuka, obi kan no kita now. Okay, Ebuka, go walk. Walk.
Yes, I know work.
Yes, Ebuka, go walk. Oga bia kita. Oh.
Okay, don't worry. I'll look for it.
Okay. Hey. Make you no be say Ebuka don go do wetin e make Nike tell am make him do. Abi you no go carry that thing? Na she dey call papers. I'll go help am find am. Papers? Why Ocha? Yeah, no Ocha bia.
See, the truth is that I like guys like you. People that will see opportunity and grab it. They don't waste time. They know say this is how it is. They will put body. I like the way you connect to things.
Very important, bros. Why will I waste time when I have two good brothers like you? You know my sister no too go school. So that's why she doesn't know the importance of me going to abroad to protect my brother's property. It's very important too.
Yes. No.
And now you are now understanding things. You're now understanding things. You are a man, you have to take in charge. Those women.
Yes, sir.
If you give a woman small chance like this, can't pass your top.
Bros, I cannot.
She will rubbish you.
It's true.
Take in charge. You are a man.
Amy, you know the problem. Now that I've hidden the document, but the problem is that I don't know who will help me connect to the person that will do the traveling stuff for me. I need it immediately. No time.
Guy.
Hey!
I said, calm on down. You are rushing. Come, everything is sorted. You don't have any problem. See, to travel now, do you know the things you need? Okay, you don't know.
I don't know.
You will need a bank statement, a police report, your visa, your NEPA bill. And we have a traveling agent that will do all that for you.
You have it.
Wait, let me.
You have it.
Wait, calm down. All you need is a Japa Connect. Japa Connect. Fast. You don't go. People are leaving this country every day. Once we connect you to people where they commode people from even if you don't have enough money, you feel follow Libya self, use leg, enter.
I want to go straight. I don't want Libya. I'm afraid of Libya.
You don't even tell them that man you do in traveling for
that man with the drive car.
Yes, that he lost. That
one a full family.
My brother's property there is the most important thing here. I want to go there and protect it. This is my opportunity of changing my life.
Yes.
See,
please.
See, guy, calm down. Emenike here. One guy, one big man was using that man. He did the
family one.
The whole family
relocation.
Emenike did that deal. Are you serious? Is it because we are not talking? Do you know that I was born in Hamburg? Because I'm not talking.
Are you serious? That means if I go there, all of you will come. We are friends now. So.
You know, abroad we don't go tired, so all these things. Now you won't go. We won't do for you because we are friends.
I really appreciate it. Please, I know you with you people. I'm
go.
there already.
Please, will be fine. You can come out.
I really appreciate it. Ibe,
go and pack your things.
Please, I can't wait. No time.
Very soon now you go use tattoo, draw everywhere.
No, I don't want tattoo. I just want to go my brother's property, not tattoo. On your church or my brother's property, and I can't allow that to happen. Crazy. I beg, I can't wait. Please, let me rush. I'm packing now.
Pack your things.
I'm packing. I want to see the agent today, tomorrow.
Don't worry. Your bath up will change. You go see you wear earring and everything. Once you travel.
This boy is very stupid.
Can you imagine?
Jesus.
Can you just imagine?
See this boy won't go abroad.
You want Japa?
Tell
He
you.
wants to Japa?
See, you see this guy, eh? Even if I was a big man, I can't sponsor this guy. Take him to UK or US. He's still not gonna make him.
You can never make it.
No.
Making it is not for everybody.
Yes, now.
It's not for everybody. Some go make them, some will never make it, no matter how you put it.
No matter.
Man's pressure die, they will never. It is not in their destiny to make it.
He not gonna make him.
See the casket, the kind of casket they even used to bury the brother. He say, brother, keep some property abroad. This is your.
They go deport him, this guy.
No be, they not go. Once he reach embassy, na slap.
Oh wow.
Oh, they go.
You won't go.
Slap, right there.
Yeah, Ebuka.
Amara, Alpha.
Now you go carry one your paper.
What is it? Eh?
Now you carry one your paper.
Hey.
Hey.
Hey. Yes, I'm the one. Any problem?
Hi. Why problem no go there? As you just did like this, your heart just black. You just wicked. You carry wickedness. You use of this swag, but that. Why you go carry person paper when you no find your trouble?
See, I don't even know. You don't have sense. So all this advice Emily Kandibe give us. So you didn't hear that.
Okay.
Eh? So you want this Oyibo woman to go and sell our brother's property over there when we don't have that brother again? He's gone and he's gone forever. He's not coming back to help us. Try and have sense. I'm trying to help you and you want to remain like this. You didn't consider anyone. You want this Oyibo woman to travel and sell our brother's property.
So if Iheme and Emenike can't tell you to make you carry this your coconut head, go shook for fire, you go carry and go shook for fire.
See, there's no fire there. Let me tell you. They are trying to help us. You understand? Our brother is gone. He's not coming back to help us again. So we have to use our sense. If you don't...
Ebuka.
Amara, Marihe.
Ebuka, carry that paper, me you go give that woman.
I cannot do that.
Okay.
I cannot do that.
So if to say as our brother can't die for abroad way in day, this woman can't carry a dead body, we bill and come here. You for see paper where you for hide.
How she could be the corpse? It's not tradition. She must come here with his corpse.
That tradition I won't kill you so. Now this tradition where you don't know, I won't permit your life.
I will not see. If you don't come out here now, I will use this word on you.
Me, I don't
go and get
own.
me something to eat.
I don't talk my own. You better carry that paper, go give that one.
If you don't have anything, come on, here.
You sure you making it?
Because see animal, I want to
Who
check your
give
life.
me
You don't have time. See, our brother is dead. You cannot see him again to help you. So if you like,
Now you want oppressor. Now you want oppressor. Best we lost his husband. He will still go lost his paper. You know what make him go back?
So see, you don't have sense, Abby. You don't have sense.
Chukwu na lady. Chukwu na lady.
You remember.
On your jaw. Njọ.
You remember. You see you. If I go there, nothing will reach you. Ewu chairman, you know. See you. I don't even know that you are an idiot. Ewu. Don't worry. You go need your living. So you don't want your brother. You want this Oyibo, even if you.
Yeah, Mom, it was okay. The burial was okay. Quite different, though. Is Sarah there? Hey, mother. Det är okej. Vad ska man säga? Begravningen är klar och ja, jag är här i Nigeria, men jag kommer tillbaka snart. Mom, I'm having some visitors. A lot of visitors here. Let me call you back. Yeah. What? Hello? Can I help you?
Hello.
Hello?
Hey, beautiful wife. wife, how are you?
Yeah, I'm
How are you?
Let me get a seat. Eh? Let me get a seat. Get a seat, get a seat.
Fine girl. Don't be surprised. Africa, that's how we are.
I know.
Yes.
Come this side, come this side.
Come this side.
Our beautiful wife.
Sit down, sit
Why
down.
did you do that?
Don't worry, that's how we are. Nothing will do him. He will clean his body and sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down.
A little comical. You have some sense of humor.
Are you saying sense of humor? We are more than sense of humor. See, we Africans, when we see white people, we can fool for you guys. Guys, it's not like anything. We just want to make you guys happy. It's not like you guys are carrying good. We are just free people.
Yes. We know how to welcome visitors.
Yes, we are harmony. That word, harmony.
Be dramatic a bit.
Yes.
We know how to harmonize things.
Yeah,
So
hospitality.
how can I help you today?
You don't understand? If we are here, it's not anything, but we are here to put some one or two things
Together.
You know, now your husband is dead. And and they say what? A woman is what? Body no be firewood. We know body no be firewood.
Meaning?
You don't understand?
No.
I mean, body no be firewood. I mean, a chicken that is not inside oven. What I'm trying to say is, as your husband is gone, you need somebody to be craving your garden, somebody, planting something in your garden, somebody shifting your curtain, somebody, parting your Red Sea, lubricating your vessel. What a bombshell.
My dear, what he's trying to say is this. Now that your husband is dead, you need a man to fill that vacuum. You see that space that he left? You need a man there. So in Africa, here that you are, you don't need to go empty-handed.
Yes.
When you are going, you need to pick a man.
Yeah.
You need another person to replace your husband now that he's no more.
Yeah.
So if you want somebody, I am here. I am here for you. And he can also be there. Guys,
Well,
when you're done with
let
him.
me just say this. It has been quite lonely, but I'm not thinking of marriage right now, like remarrying. That would be later down the line.
No, in future is to someone. That place will someone. You can't do it in future, okay? You have to be doing it now.
I like the fact that you said you can marry. That one is what I want to hear. Not that you have said you can marry. We are here for you. We are here. I am personally here for you.
Who is this? Who is this?
Akate, no let these two condemned fools deceive you. Because if they deceive you now, you are finished. These two people, now them be the wahala wey we dey get for this place. No let them sweet talk you, totori your body now. You no go know wetin you dey do again.
Sorry, wait. I think her English is quite different. I understand you better. What is she trying to say?
Yeah, she said she's going crazy. He's having a stomach problem,
With a touch of
she want to poo-poo.
With a touch of headache.
Headache, bipolar.
She's having bipolar.
Yes.
Yeah. Now the two of una, na running headache and bipolar go key. Now no carry una self come up for this.
Did you understand that one?
No, what's that?
She said that running stomach will kill her. You heard the running stomach there will kill.
No, you need medication.
Yeah,
Better one.
better. And she's a Yahoo girl.
Yahoo?
Yeah, she Yahoo.
The male?
Yeah,
No, female Yahoo.
female Yahoo.
Now that she has seen Oyibo, next thing now she will. Everything you have is gone.
Akate, these people lie to you. They lying you too much. No hear them. They lying, lie to you too much.
Are you lying?
It's not possible now. Listen to this girl. Her English alone will tell you that she doesn't have sense.
Oh, you mean you want to lie down with
Yes!
Yeah.
Oh, your chap.
This girl
This
is a Yahoo girl.
Yahoo.
Yeah, Yahoo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nearly Tracy go wound you.
Let's go.
So God.
Let's go.
So we'll come back later.
We'll come back later.
Don't listen to her too much. She will confuse you.
Yeah.
You get? Confirm. Let's sleep here. So, guy, why you push me down?
Why push you down? Why?
Come first.
Why?
Why you push me
Why?
down?
No, why?
Why you push me?
I don't like that thing.
This agent that you people are talking about, I hope the guy can deliver this work.
Sorry.
Nah, see this guy. Ebuka, you have trust issues. So. No, you have trust issues. So. Are you President Putin? Agent that has sent 50 people abroad.
Serious? Are you serious? You know, Ibe, the problem here is that, you know, so many people, they parade themselves as if they can do this document of traveling to abroad, they can do this, but when you come to the work, they can't do anything. That's why I'm talking, oh. Please, that's why I'm saying this thing. So, I believe this one, let's give him a try now. Let me believe that this one will
Ebuka, let me tell you. Let your heart not be troubled. Believe in Ibe and also believe in me. In your brother's house, there in UK, there are many other mansions there. If it were not so, I wouldn't have told you.
That's why we have to act fast now. Please, see, you have to bring good agent that will do this paper fast. This woman I don't know her plans now. She want to follow back now, do everything so that I want to collect my brother's property. I can't wait.
Do you know UK government? Let me tell you the disadvantages of wasting time. You see UK government, once they wait for your brother now, they don't see him. They wait for his wife, they don't see her. They will confiscate all your brother's properties.
Oh,
everything, his assets, they will render it useless. If you even waste time to come, they will see you as a criminal. They will arrest you.
They'll pick you up with the FBI.
I must go there.
If you don't get fast, now leave here, you go follow. I don't tell you this thing.
I don't want to go.
When you die inside this house,
enter X.
Go no.
To that place. Please, you people should.
What is important right now is UK. You know they sell boxer shorts there. All your singlets. Make sure you buy Type-C charger because UK they don't use Android chargers there.
Nah, stop now.
Yes. Before you go, what soap do they use? Buy all your soaps.
I'm hoping on the two of you.
No problem.
Bring
no
me
problem.
Today, tomorrow.
Buy your palms.
Make this guy worry you. What did he worry you? Somebody is going to UK where they don't take light. You are telling him to buy power bank. What type of human being are you?
If I don't tell her, you go use Android charger there. That Type-C charger they use for there. Okay, you don't know. You don't try me before. Why am I even telling you?
Is it me that you're calling?
Akate, I don't cook finish.
No, sorry, my name is not Akate. My name is Maureen. Are you done with the food? Thank you. But is this the food?
Yes. But that food now I cook for you like this. So
Is this the meal?
meal. This na abacha.
No.
No be meal. Abacha.
Just.
I don't put uba, put tomatoes, put even this salad where you dey like. You know, I can put pomo, fish, everything.
Is this rubber?
Wetin be rubber? This thing na pomo. If you chop pomo finish, you no go chop chicken again. As you eat this thing, so all your skin go fresh. When you go back, your people go know say you come this village.
I'm sorry, but this doesn't look appetizing at all.
We shall be appetizing again now. See, I put spices. That spices wey you dey like, I pack am put for inside. This food sweet. Chop am, try am. They call me Chef Amarachi for Benin. You never test my food before, now make you do your face like this. Chop am first. Chop am. If this thing enter your body, You see all these small things where they come and you go clear them. Go clear them. Chop them, try them. Chop them now. Which one you do hand like say this thing? I be you. Oh, sorry, no. I can't eat this. I pack soap one no. How you soap now? Why not?
Bros, I heard you are the traveling agent. So I believe that you are good in this business. I say, let me come and see you. That's why I'm here.
My brother, I've been in this business for long. We handle your traveling to any country in the world. From your passport registration, through your visa, and your arrival to your destination.
Okay. What am I doing now? I'm here. That's very, very great. That means I met the right person. Hey, please, bros, I want to travel to UK for very, very important something. So I say, let me see. So how do we do it now?
My brother, if you want to travel to UK, now your money,
Okay.
sharp. Just bring money.
So how much are we talking about here?
Do you have a passport?
Passport? Passport? Passport? No, passport.
I mean international passport.
No, I don't have that one now.
Okay. We'll start with your processing your passport. And now 5 years passport is 200,000. Why are you shouting?
You just say I'm happy, that's why I shout. You know, when somebody is surprised.
I don't think you are ready for this.
No, bros, I'm ready. Seriously, I'm ready.
I told you the amount. I told you the price for 5 years passport and you are shouting.
No, the shout is happiness shout.
If I tell you the millions involved in visa, you will just go and hang yourself.
No.
See, you are not ready for this.
No, bros, I beg. I'm ready. Just tell me everything, all the amount from visa to passport, from there to plane and the land that place. I want to go there. Very, very important. Biko. I'm happy. They shout to happiness shout.
Since you are serious about the traveling, we cannot discuss it here. Okay. Come, let's go.
Very important.
My lord, we both know that your people in your country, we don't eat hard food like our own. We eat solid food. Our tongue is stronger. So you people eat sugar, all those sugary things like chocolate, ice cream, then fruit, and vegetable. Yeah. That's what you people eat, okay?
Sure.
That is why we went to buy fruit for you, so that you eat and it will soften your stomach.
Oh, okay. That's nice. That's very nice of you guys.
Thank you.
But guess what? I'm the one that brought the idea.
Chineke.
I'm the one that brought the idea that we should give you fruits
Chineke.
so that you can lose weight. You know, you can be healthy.
Hey.
What?
You are the one that brought which idea?
I'm the one that brought the idea.
Meaning what, man?
Meaning what?
No, I want to understand you. Was this what we agreed?
You don't understand me. Understand yourself.
See, don't be faster
Don't
than
point
your
don't point your finger
Don't
at
be
me.
faster than your
I
shadow.
have to let her know that I brought the idea.
Did you bring the idea?
Nah.
What's wrong with you now?
Nah.
Don't do this thing. I'll have to see what's wrong with you.
Hey, you guys should calm down. Hello?
Do it once again.
You mad? Think they worry you now. How can you be doing that?
You guys should calm down.
Yeah, I'm sorry, my love. Sorry, love. You cool?
Yeah, collect fruit. Yeah.
This is
That's
Papa.
nice.
He's Papa.
I mean, it's better than
He's Papa, yes.
what the girl.
Akate, I don't tell you. These two condemn iron where you dey follow the waka. They go condemn your life journey. They go condemn your life. They go scatter your head. They go just lick your ear. You don't go know what you dey do again.
Scatter what?
They just want zaga you finish, but you no wan know.
Sorry, what is she saying?
She said she's sick. She's not feeling alright.
You know well, Anton.
She's not okay. That time gave you fruit to eat.
She's angry because we gave you these things today.
Yeah.
She wants you to eat our solid African food so that you go choke you for you. Choke you for
Look at the way she's standing there, like way big, going to Onitsha. Like this. Like this. They don't wrap up.
My dear, Eat.
And you be like, where they go already.
Eat. You like the fruit, Abby?
Sure.
You like it?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
cool.
It's very nice of you. I appreciate.
Do you also like salad?
Yeah. I like Caesar salad.
You say?
Caesar salad, like
you don't
lettuce and chicken, then parmesan cheese. It's actually a simple
I
salad.
don't hear that one. No. You hear them?
No,
You don't know cheese?
You say Caesar
Caesar
salad.
Okay, the one that they put in a hot dog and salad cheese inside.
No hot dog. It's just basic like lettuce, chicken,
leather,
parmesan
leather.
cheese.
Leather.
They mix up with leather.
My dear, the only
Amazon.
Caesar I know is Ureke Caesar and Caesar. You know what is Ureke Caesar and Caesar? You don't know that. Ureke Jesu. Don't worry.
Oh, eat it.
I tell you, say this will go on them like. I tell you, say as they laugh you. You don't know. They use you catch coups. They play your name.
Leave am mental. You person well over. Caesar, you say Caesar salad. Caesar. Nigeria.
Corn salad or
Caesar what?
Caesar salad.
Caesar.
Eat this one.
You shit. Very foolish. Please, let me warn you. You see that thing you tried there? You see that nonsense you did there? Today will be the first and the last day you will ever attempt such thing. If you try that nonsense again, if I no come on your teeth, no say no be.
Try am now. I'm not a child though. Don't dare be threatening my life anyhow. I'm not a child. This life now, overtaking is allowed. If you can't overtake, then walk in there.
Okay, you don't know that overspeed kills.
You go see, go hospital.
You don't know so overspeed kills.
No, don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Overspeed can
Don't
kill
touch
you.
me.
Foolish
Imagine.
boy. You see, not even I say you don't have fear for me, oh. Like you don't have fear for me.
I dey fear you. No, I dey fear you. I dey fear you.
I will change it
I
for
dey fear
you.
you.
I will change it for you.
If you are there, calm down now. Calm down. Every time. Whoa. What is that now? Eh?
Calm down.
Eh?
Is it your
fight?
Is it your fight?
I met that agent, and he's telling me to bring millions of naira, and I don't have such amount of money. Where will I get such amount of money?
I don't
now?
understand you.
Eh?
Don't let me transfer this aggression to you. What is wrong with you? They ask you to bring millions of naira and you are here talking. Just be there. Don't look for money. Be there. Your brother's wife is already preparing her travel documents now. Very soon she will leave this place. Sell off all your brother's things and you see what will happen to you.
Wait, Ebuka. You think going to abroad is like going to Lagos, right?
You think say no so
I need help.
People are selling their mansions to go there. You think it's a joke? Don't you have plot of lands?
I have plot of lands, different places, but the problem is who will bring the buyer?
See, be like say, see, I will stop talking about this. Your abroad thing. No.
Please,
No, we can't mix. It's okay.
No,
if you are not selling it, it's okay. No, be talking to him.
Okay, wait, hold on. Wait. You have lands.
Yes,
It's just buyers that you don't have.
I have plot of lands, different places. Now the buyer. So far I get there, I beg.
Okay, you have property.
I have
have empty land.
plot, different places.
It's just agent to sell it that you don't have.
The buyer.
Call me by 4.
Call him by 4. See this thing you be doing now.
Call me by 4.
We will stop helping you.
Iban, I've had you now. Emenike, please, I'll call you by 4. Remember, not when I call you now, your number will be switched off. Try and charge your phone, I'll call you.
Hunger will really baptize you for this house. Since they shove this fruit like say you be he goat. Hunger.
I'm not getting you.
Hunger go mama you. Oto.
Hunger.
He go finish you.
I'm not getting you.
Chai. Though. That thing where you define, that thing where you dey talk that day, where you say it be like this, you don't see am.
My document? My picture? I haven't seen it though, honestly, but if you see it, you can let me know. My photo, my picture is there inside it.
Well, I know dey. Me, problem, wahala, Me, no business is fine. Me, go inside, cook, wash, clean, finish.
Alright, if you find it, let me know.
Wahala, no problem. Good.
Even if I do find the documents, I don't have the money to go back home.
Ebuka, David here is a land agent. Most of the lands in this area, most of the buildings you are seeing in this area, he is the one that brings the big men that buys the land.
Okay.
As you see David here, even if you want to sell this land in the next 30 minutes,
You run up.
he has the connection, he has the person he will call on the phone that will come and give you the money, whether cash or by transfer, anyone.
No problem.
That's why he's here.
So by the end of the day, I will bring buyer that will buy this land.
Very important.
The only thing I want you to tell us now is how much you are selling this land.
It's 14 million.
Jesus!
14 million.
Why are you sounding like this?
Ebuka.
14 million is it too much?
14 million in this
14
area.
million now. Why are you doing as if you don't know? Look at the dwarf fence. I'm the one that handled this project. It's my brother, my late brother, that put this fence around here. Look at houses, buy and build. Check the land.
Hey.
What it even more than that. It's just that I need the money to. They know why I want to do it.
Very good, you.
Very greedy boys.
I don't like the geography of your face here. You want to spoil this thing. You know the everything.
What do you mean? You don't like the geography of my face? Are you a weather forecaster? See this guy.
Oh God, I beg. How far?
See,
Calm down.
what is the value of this land?
What is the value?
What is the value of
From
this
your
land?
own angle.
Check the fence so before you.
I
start.
know. To start with, the topography of this land is slopey. And
It's
any
photograph.
investor that is willing to invest in this land will have to spend so much money.
The land is my brother's own, not photo guinea.
Which
It's not-
photographer? See, they are even dumping refuse.
This thing is not. If you put
So
fire now,
before
everything
you
will
can
burn.
clear everywhere and get this place good for working,
Don't
you
worry,
will
I'll
spend
come and burn
money.
it. I will burn the thing by myself.
Reduce
Bring
the
buyer.
money from your this thing.
Check
This land is
now.
worth. This land is worth 7 million,
7
not
million.
14.
Hi, Mbano. Check the fence. Buy and build, though, not inside forest.
If you want this land sold today, tell us the original amount, or we leave you here.
10 million can go. Let me just do
Ah,
it. They know why
10
I'm doing
million.
it.
10 million.
Don't worry, when the buyer come now, we can do this thing. Why are you
If
acting
I
like
place
this?
a call now,
Yeah.
in the next 25 minutes, you will see a buyer here.
Very important. Very important. Bring the man here. The money is not the problem now.
Place the call.
If it's not serious, you people should tell me. Oh.
Don't worry.
If not, when I now finish telling people to come and buy, they will come here.
Tell them,
this land
if the man cannot take the two, we can divide it. Take one, the other person take one.
You don't even get money to build. You don't have anything. Your brother's land. See the way they do 14 million, 14
they give
million.
you 14
You will
million.
never make
Can
am.
you count it? Can you count it?
Have you seen 14 million before?
No, see, you people are confusing.
You see,
me.
it's always the poor people who they
This boy
take
get
up
mind go
14 million.
It's not. See, I'm losing the land. Bro.
Are you okay?
You are losing the land. This land, if they don't sell them less than 5 million, no say I be moved. Nobody
Before you
will
know,
buy-
they will
see,
use
don't-
this.
see refuse they dump here.
See, if you don't take care, they will use this land for washing bay. I'm telling
If
you.
you talk to the man, this thing worth 20
Brother!
million. They will buy.
You people said you want to discuss something with me. What is it?
David, it's about the business we want to do. We have come to the conclusion that we would like you to pay us 10%
Yes,
of
sir.
every deal we have with you.
That will be no problem. I will pay you guys appropriately.
What's appropriately? What is appropriately?
I will pay you as and when due.
Hey, Mr. David, Mr. David, it's our 10% or nothing.
10.
Yes, sir.
10.
10.
All right, no
Yes, sir.
problem. I will pay you, but I will pay you guys
You pay us what?
10%.
10%.
Now what you want here? 10%.
Yes, I'll
10%.
pay you 10%.
You know you agents. Let me not direct it to you. Most of you agents, they are not trustworthy. They will say A, tomorrow they do B. We will not take it lightly. Agents, no, let me tell you, agents, most of them dress like gentlemen.
Yes.
But inside them, they are not gentle.
So if you go to
They
the
are not
house,
gentle.
you don't have anywhere to
Especially
sleep.
those ones that will say, you pay house 500,000, you pay agent fee 200, lawyer fee, this one fee,
Yes.
this one. Before you know it, you pay house 500,000, pay agent fee 2 million.
They will plan with house owner.
My brother, relax. Like I said, I will pay us and when due.
10%, 9 be that.
10%.
Thank you. Let's go.
He can track you down too.
No joke now. No be more money.
So if anything, we go link up.
No problem.
1, 2, 3.
What is it? What's the problem?
You see that Akate wey dey inside house? That one Yocha wey dey inside our house. Since she come here, she never chop better food.
So how is that my business? Wetin concern me?
How e no take be your business? How e no take be your business? No be you go enter your bag go thief wetin supposed to use to travel. No be you go thief am.
You don't have sense. So you want me to return that document to that woman so that she can go abroad, go and sell our brother's property? Our brother is dead. I cannot try such. I cannot give her any paper. Do you understand? I cannot return it. If you like, write it tomorrow. Make she stay hungry.
I no dey cry for the matter.
So what is your problem there?
You
What
see tears dey comot from my eye.
Na me
I no
dey
dey
travel.
cry o. Me, I dey tell you say make you carry that thing, make you go give her. Maybe
I
someone
will
for
not.
carry her wahala comot for this house.
I said no. I said no.
Ebuka, wetin be the reason why you hold this thing like this?
Because I need the property there.
Which property?
You need them.
Me?
Eh.
I thought you said if I wetin no dey find me.
You don't need it. That's why you
Ebuka,
keep
that
on.
place now wey be say dey hungry you to go. You know wetin dey there wey dey wait for you?
Anything at all. Let me see.
Oh, what if na as you dey reach there, they put you for prison, say our brother dey owe money?
Let me enter that prison. You see that prison? I want to enter there.
You don finish now.
let
Your
me go
life
there.
don burn like condemned iron.
Let me
See
go.
wetin dey comot for your mouth, you go take give person insult you. They talk say make they put you for prison. You don finish
You are
now.
talking about prison.
You don
so
finish now.
None of your business.
Sense no dey your head.
The prison
Even
there
be
is
say
better
na you be
than
my
here.
elder brother sef, I no even know wetin I dey use you to dey.
UK and Canada, America, Europe,
How are you?
This one can't even cook our bread. You make me.
1, 2, 3.
Are you
See,
serious? Where are you going with this flower?
I'm going to see my babe.
Hey! Lover boy.
Yes.
Very important.
You know
Okay.
when a man is in love,
Hey.
he does stupid things.
Very important.
Mm.
You must dance the chroma.
Yeah.
Very important. This David,
Uh-huh.
the agent, he called me earlier, said that there is a serious buyer that want to buy down my plot. So that's where I'm heading to now. I can't wait. I
Oh, okay.
can't wait to see that deal.
David say you don't get a buyer.
Very serious, so very serious. That's why
Oh.
I'm rushing. I'm rushing like this. I want to go before the man will change his mind. You know this abroad of a thing. I
Yes.
can't wait. I can't lose it. You
I'm
understand?
happy for you.
Don't worry. Later.
Eh.
Don't worry, lover boy.
I'm happy for you.
Yes, so very
Eh.
important. Go for flowers.
See you in Barcelona. Eh?
Don't worry.
Yeah. When you get to Barcelona, let me know. So I will call Nicki Minaj to host you.
UK and Canada, America, Europe.
Okay, from here now, go down there. It's
Yes.
100 feet.
Yes.
Then from here, go up there. It's
Yes.
50 feet. So
That's
the
one
land
plot.
is one complete plot of 50 by 100.
That's one plot. Guys, you can see. You see how balanced the land is. So the beacon and that make it one plot is there. So as you can see by yourself.
I've seen it. It's very massive. I love it. I believe you have more to say too because I want to buy more.
Yes, I have another plot today. It's just like this. Buy and build.
Good.
So if I take you there now, you see by yourself. Hmm?
Along the road too.
You will like it. Even you will love it more than this one.
Good.
After
After you.
Can we go now?
Let's go.
Yes, very
Let's go.
important. Thank you. Let's go. Okay, no time. I don't have time. Very important.
UK and Canada, America,
Baby, are you ready? Oh, I know. Hey, I miss you, baby. Oh, I miss you, baby. Oh, I know. Special piece of me, I want you. I'm not gonna with you. My dear, I brought you flowers. I want to visit you flowers. Baby girl, I'm giving you flowers. Let me be my girl, be mine. You special person in my heart. Let me be yours. Flower, flower, girl, flower, flower, flower.
Hey! I don't understand. What you bring this leg now? No, what you bring this leg now? See, you don't overdo. You are overdoing.
What have I done again?
What in the world you know? Shebi me and you discussing we must be coming here together. Why you come alone?
Now, what's in the sub now? What's in the sub now? I was waiting for you. I know. Make I wait for you for long.
Okay, you dey wait for me, you no see me, you begin run come here.
Eh?
If I no go your house now, go ask your sister where you there. She tell me say you run come out with flower. How for take no say you come here?
And yeah, you too, as you take you say you don't know where I go. Why you so you take no say I dey here? You see, I'm overtaking this salary. You
You dey
overtake
fuck
me.
up. Oh. You dey mess
Give
up.
her what you want to give her.
Maba, one day you go do like this. I go use
Give
mouth
her
to wound
what
you.
you want to give her.
Hello,
What the
baby.
reason now?
Hello.
Hello, baby. How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay.
You good? He's not disturbing you?
No, it's,
I don't understand. Are they crusade? Pastor Chris, they do crusade, Abi. They do convention.
They mad. You never know wetin carry you come here.
Then I'm saying they disturb him with my voice.
How are you,
They
baby?
mad.
I'm okay.
Well, I've got some gift for ya.
Then what are they saying?
Awele clothing.
Oh.
Yeah, that is Africa, one of the best in Africa. Awele clothing.
Oh.
This is where you get the best fabrics. This is the place you get the best jumpsuits, tracksuits, all the up and down.
Oh, like
Yeah.
onesies.
Yeah, you love it. Check it out yourself, you know.
Thank you.
Sharp,
Wow.
confirm, all the way from Awele.
You not gonna like him.
Make I hear.
That's nice.
Make I hear. Think say we are the same intestine, homie and you.
Thank you.
You love it?
Women love flowers.
You love it?
Yeah.
Let me accompany it with something special. You know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is the best currency in Africa. They call it Naira, our money.
Wow.
Full bundle. You will love it.
That's fantastic. This is, money's actually, the way to my heart.
Oh!
It's actually my love language. So I'm
Money!
very sorry, but I have to
Give 'em back.
I'm okay.
They don't give me my flowers, oh!
This one's sweet.
They don't give me Jesus. Women will disappoint you.
Enter your body.
Jesus.
Enter body. Enter body. I love
They
you.
don't give me my flowers, oh! My roses.
Go chop them.
Nah, I think say I never was there.
Go chop them. Go
Please,
chop them.
I think you didn't tell me that you love money. If you told me that you love money, I would have spoiled you with money.
Okay, you want
Most women are sprinkle ladies. Sprinkle.
Okay. Hey!
Confirm.
Flower no enter.
You know if you enter.
See, don't worry. I will spoil you with money.
You know
It's money that you want, right? Don't worry.
Go chop them.
No worry.
Goat. Go chop flower. Foolish man. We're talking money, you're talking flower. You okay?
Money talks.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. We talking money, you talking flower. Go to Garden of Eden. Can you imagine? My dear, don't worry. I come back for you. Come back for you, okay?
Yeah.
Love you. High five.
Nice seeing you.
Now we there run now. I'm going there run
Yeah.
now. Hey, on that flower. Make I see. I look in the money. Make you no be say this two idiots they just dey deceive this woman say na so they get money. Here for even see the money we give her.
Say after me. Cash is king.
Cash
Is
is
king.
king.
Yeah. Money talks.
Money
Talks.
they talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need to talk when your money talks for you.
UK and Canada, America, Europe, I can't remain in Nigeria. Ngejekwa na America.
Okay, I love it. Which of you will I transfer to?
Send the money to me and I will,
Oga, the land is my own. You have to send the money to me. Then I will settle the agent. You understand? Let me call the account.
Is that okay by you?
No problem.
Very
You can
important.
send to him.
Very important. Let me call the account number. 00.
Hold on.
UK and Canada, America, Europe,
Why you call me now? Huh?
What's happening? Nabanga.
What's in that?
Nabanga.
What is
We
that?
have to call David right away. Ebuka told me that David has gotten a buyer for the land. They mad. I even think about that guy, David. So you have gotten a buyer. Won't you call us fast to come and take our agent fee?
Wait. So, David has gotten a buyer for that land.
You don't keep quiet. I don't know why
And he
you
refused to call us.
They think just to call me.
I sense criminality.
That guy can be two-faced.
I sense criminal acts there.
Attack him.
We have to go there now.
Imagine. So
You-
what if Ebuka didn't tell me? He will step on the money or what?
Because of 20%.
He dey craze.
Because of 20%. 10% from buyer and 10% from seller. That's why he refused to call us.
You have gotten a buyer. Call her, say you have gotten a we have gotten a buyer. Come and take. So business will just flow.
Leave him.
Why do you keep quiet?
He's seeing us as children. We go show him say we
If I enter that in workplace,
now
you go know.
nothing.
Desperado, Balotelli, my amigos, Daddy's taking me photo. Balotelli,
So hot everywhere.
hey, Akate, yeah. Wanyocha, how you doing now? Since you dey sweat, though, no vex. Na so our country be oh. Hope so no be make all these things dey comot for your body. Hey.
What are you doing?
I dey cook oh, I say make I cook food wey you go chop na. Shey you like that thing wey dey long rice. Never
Long
chop am
rice? No. Long rice?
before? You never chop am before? You go don chop am, you know am. E dey long like this. E dey get yellow color. They dey use tomatoes, they dey put pepper, they dey put crayfish.
Oh, okay. You mean pasta? Like okay, it's spaghetti.
Spaghetti!
Yes.
Na now you don call am spaghetti.
Yeah.
Na spaghetti.
Yes,
Na wetin I dey cook.
I eat that if you spice it up. I usually put like chili and garlic and stuff like that.
Okay, that one no dey here. We no get that
Yeah.
one. The one wey we get na mangi, salt, crayfish. You go blend am. No come use hand grind the pepper and the tomatoes. E dey
Okay.
sweet.
I'm sure I would like it.
You go chop
I'd
am
like to
finish.
try it.
This one I spice am well. You go like am, no worry.
Okay.
Sit down, make I cook finish. You hear me? You chop.
Oh, that's so lovely.
You go, no worry. You go like am. Make I cook am finish first. This kind one, Oyibo might tell you never chop this kind one before.
Oh.
Na me dey cook am. You know wetin they call me for my side? They dey call me chef. Chef.
Wow.
My cook am here they come.
Feels
Hey.
like home.
Balotelli, ladies taking me photo. Balotelli.
And you don't get us angry, oh. Don't get us angry. No, we didn't come here to joke. Give her a percentage. Give her a percentage. That's all. Now, the way you are coming down, I don't like it, oh. Are we children? Are we children?
David, please, we are here for you to give us our 10% as we agreed. Shebi, we did this business and we had an agreement. Why are you now trying to slow everything down? Give us this thing, let's go now.
Give you which thing? Which 10%? Like, what money are you talking about?
See, David, you are playing with fire. Oh.
Yeah.
No, you are playing with fire. We brought somebody to you. We agreed with you. Say, after selling that land, you will give us 10%. 10% or nothing. When I was talking to you, you think I was joking. No, this thing you are doing now, Be very careful because 2 by 2 can land you now.
You guys are funny.
For here.
Yo.
You guys are really funny. So, when did you become a property agent? Who certified you?
Imagine.
Where did you register? Where have you started doing agents?
Wait. David, is this what you're asking us?
He's Judas.
Wait. We brought somebody and we both agreed with you that you are going to give us 10%. Which you agreed openly. Why are you not changing it? Why are you not making it look as if we are begging you for money or what?
So you are now telling me that you are now impersonating land agents in this area. And I'm sure our chairman is not aware. So you better find your way out of this place now. Because by the time I call our chairman in this area, you will see yourself in the police custody. And that will explain better for you. So you people are among those people that are going around collecting people's land agents' money when the registered agents are here.
Talk to him. I came to escort you. Talk to him. I'm just escorting you as a friend. Talk to him.
David.
You are still here talking.
This is what you are doing.
Wait, let me call our
You
chairman.
see, you agents,
calm down.
you agents. One day you'll be going home like this, you will
Calm down,
receive
calm
gunshot
down,
here.
calm down.
No, you want to collect agent
Calm
money, Abi?
down.
I will call our chairman and you will see what will happen.
No,
Let's go.
Let's go. It's
The phone
okay.
is ringing.
It's okay. Oh, it's
One day
okay.
you'll be going home as an agent like
It's
this
okay.
because of bad business. You receive gunshot here, inside your ear.
It's okay. Don't mind him.
Do you
Okay.
hear what he's
No,
saying?
me, I didn't come with him. Oh. Me, I just came
Do
to
you hear
escort
what
him.
he's saying?
No, please, don't calm down.
The
Okay.
station will hear about this.
Let's go, leave me.
I've made my call.
Don't worry.
I'm coming for
We
you.
go still make our own call. Like here you go see gunshot here.
Property.
Yes,
Wait,
no.
you are traveling to claim property.
Yes, not claiming, but it's my, my brother, my late brother, his property over there. If I didn't go there, they will collect it from me. And it's all danger.
This is my problem with travelers. They will never tell you what they are traveling to do. Wait, you are going to claim property and you didn't even tell me. My brother, you have to pay extra 2.7 million. My own visa and waste you.
Which is it?
You have to pay 2.7 million. It's called property acquisition fee. I will attach it to your visa. So that you can happy deport to go from airport.
Bros, don't attach any accusation, this thing for my paper. Leave it. If I go there, I know how to find it. You are saying you are attaching any. I'm not paying for any attach.
My brother,
just do this thing for me. I don't like the way you are doing.
You never told me you are going to acquire any property in UK. You never told me. You get with ego.
Not to acquire, it's there already. I'm not going for new one. The old one. My brother's own. And I don't like the way you are charging me this money. I don't have money again. Eh?
My brother, no problem. It seems like a joke to you, right? So bad. See, when you are ready to pay, you have my account number. Transfer the money, 2.7 million. A man will be a 1 naira.
Hey.
When you are ready to pay, you have my account number. Transfer the money. And you will not pressure me at all. I give you 2 days. Open a from alert. If I didn't receive any alert in 2 days, my brother, I'm married for your money. I don't have time.
Why are you sounding like this? I don't have money. Hi, what will I do now? That property is very important. I need to go. What will I do?
Take my time cook this food for you.
Okay. You put spices there.
Pack them for inside.
Oh.
Let's see.
It smells good.
Yeah.
Smells good.
Good.
Yes.
Chop and make you see.
It's good.
It sweet you?
It's
not bitter?
delicious. No, it's good.
Good.
This is how I love my pasta.
Hi, thank God. At least us I no go catch you now. Hi, you don't need chop food, thank God.
This is so nice. And you put egg.
I put egg, I put chicken, I put that thing where they long like this.
Carrot. You put chili, pepper. Those red
Pepper, yes.
garlic. That
Pepper,
white.
garlic, yes.
Oh, that's
garlic,
great.
tomatoes. It sweet you, you know bad, you know bitter.
Good.
Sweet, good.
Good.
Good,
Very
well,
good.
well.
Nice.
Nice.
Why don't you sit down? Sit here. Join me and eat with me.
What you eat?
No, eat with me. Eat. You eat.
Me, no, me belly full. I no hungry. You eat. The food small. It's small. You finish
no.
it.
Where I'm from, we don't eat small. We eat small. So you can eat with me. Yeah, bring.
You sure?
Yeah. Go and bring a fork.
Fork, yeah. Okay. It sweet you. It
Very
no
nice.
bitter you.
No, it's
It
nice.
sweet you. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Wait, Kevika, what are you trying to say? Are you trying to tell me that he told you that the whole money you've been paying is not still enough?
I don't know. The man is charging me too much money and I don't like it. What will I do again? I've given him all the money. I still requesting for more.
Ebuka, calm down. What's going on? You think it's easy? You think it's easy to go to abroad? Do you know how many people are selling property to go to this abroad? Oh, you think it's like Asaba? That you just pick 20,000 to book Uber and go to Asaba, right? This abroad you are talking about. If you have any property anywhere, sell it. Do whatever he's asking you to do, so that you go. What's all this? See, the way this guy is doing, I will just remove my mouth.
Maza. You think Chinedu
Just tire me.
That one plot money is with this man. So what do you want me to do again? And you are talking like this. Calm down now.
See, let me tell you something. I hate it when I look at you and you look like you need help.
I need help.
Because me looking at you, he's a brother you want to go to now. Put body now, you not a man. If you see people that are even arranging to travel before the paper self, they have started looking good. How will they now accept you to make this travel? What type of thing is this?
Okay, no wahala. I will sit down and think.
You are now thinking. You are going to sit down and plan. No, see, I don't remove my mouth from this issue. No, I don't. No, I'm not talking
Now
anything.
that thinking where you see now they make them they shrink.
It's not that.
Say, you know they chop again. They can. Hey, Ishimbari. Osubirile.
Eminike, this guy is becoming difficult. Oh. This guy is becoming difficult. If we don't take care now, we will not be able to get money to impress this white woman. Oh. Because the way he's behaving now, his mind is switching. His mind is being like this. What's going on now? Hey, 1, 2, 3. Oh, so now what are we going to do? How are we going to get money now?
We need to start selling. Anything we can lay our hands on, be it phone, anything, land, our clothes, shoe, anything. You know, women are money. Anything that concerns woman, you need to spend. Spend in their relationship now, money. Relationship now, debit, they follow.
Now, what are we going to actually start selling? What? It's okay.
Anything.
All right, now, me, for my side, I'll be focusing on all the dogs in this community. I'll be selling all of them. Oh, you don't know you don't know how dogs are going. Dog meat, people are eating. Dog meat is going,
You want to start selling dogs?
Yes, now.
It's all right. It's a very lucrative business.
I know.
Fine business. You know, the Friday, that vulcanizer man that stays in that junction.
That vulcanizer.
He has 6 dogs in his house. Go at night. Go for night. Once it's night, enter in compound.
It's okay. It's okay. I've reduced it. I've reduced it to goats.
No. Dog is good.
No. I've reduced it to goats. Say 6 dogs now.
If your finger no remain 3. 3 here, 2 here. No say
That's
no.
why I've said I've reduced it to goats. Goats. I'll be taking goats.
want to process my papers so that I can travel to abroad to secure our brother's property. It's very important. Oh.
Hey, this abroad really hungry you for body to go like this. If they leave you now, you know road to go the abroad. That one save dey one side. You know if our brother leave property for there for you to come carry, I been a debt where you go come pay. Now they wait for you for there. Which one?
Let me tell you, all those things that you are saying is nonsense to me. Nothing in this earth will make me to discourage me not to go there.
Okay.
I must get to the root of this matter. You see this matter? I must get to the root of it. Do you understand? I must go to abroad and just recover my brother's property. You see this Oyibo woman cannot go back there and sell our brother's property. It's a loss.
You never still answer the question why they asked you. All these things when you dey talk, you just dey migrimo, they pass like this. If you go this abroad now, property they wait for you.
I don't have time for those your nonsense questions. Please go and get me something to eat. Please don't ask me any unnecessary questions again. I will not answer you. I will not answer you. I'm not in the mood. I beg.
When God they share sense, this one they sleep. Me self when no go school, I get sense pass am. How me and am take even relate? How we take be brother and sister?
I was on my way to your house. Thank God we are here now.
I hope there is no problem.
No problem at all. There is no problem. It's just that the problem I have now is that money. So there's another land that I want to sell. The land is in a very good position. The portion fine, the level, everything fine. So I need serious buyer because there is something now that is eating off my brain. So I have my anger, my palm now to demolish everything. So I need serious buyer today, tomorrow.
No problem. The only job I have in this entire area is to connect property buyers with property sellers. So I will do the needful. I will certainly get you a buyer.
Hey, thank God.
Today.
Thank God. I believe you have chance now, so I can go and show you.
I am ready. We can go
Please.
now. Let's go.
Please, let's go. Before tomorrow,
Let's go.
UK and Canada, Ofobodo, America, Europe, Ofobodo, Agerukwa I can't remain in Nigeria.
I no go stay on the house. Every time I go dey come here. Every time.
Keep quiet there. Do you own a property?
Oh, damn.
You don't know how to speak good English.
They go there.
I didn't know him book today. I go know him book tomorrow.
For your
damn.
mind.
Oh, damn. Leave this girl. Let's do
Look
what
at
brought us
this
here.
Teletubbies.
Hello, hi.
Hi. The most beautiful woman on earth. Hi. Oyibo. Shine, baby.
Oh, please have a seat. Have a seat.
Sweet heart. Wow. Say have a seat. Who is that? Who be this one?
Who is that?
Who be this?
Who is that?
Who be this? Leave am. Mumu the smell. Now Mumu the smell.
Hello, Laura.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you.
Oh, everything fine? Do you know you're such a beautiful melody?
Hope you are becoming okay now. You are forgetting your husband's death small. Everything is going off.
Well, I'm trying to.
Oh, baby.
Did you hear?
What?
You didn't hear?
I'm trying to.
Shut up, Hello, Laura. How are you doing?
My name is Lorraine.
Oh, Lorraine. Okay.
Yeah.
Lorraine, how are you doing?
I'm good, and you?
I'm good too. You know, we told you that we're gonna take care of you. We're gonna make sure that you are okay. Yeah, we're gonna spread you with more money. Yeah. See, listen, money ain't problem. Yeah, money problem.
At all.
We're gonna give you more and more. All right.
That's so.
Let me
Yes,
tell you. Let me shock you right now. Let me shock you right now.
Confirm.
I must try to make Akati one you just start to hear everything with these people telling her. She no go fit understand. See, these two condemned idiots, they no mean better for her life. Nonsense.
See, Lorraine, this is what we call money now water.
Plenty water.
Yeah.
Money na
Listen,
plenty water.
I don't want to talk too much. Collect this Benjamin.
Oh, it's very nice of you.
How much is there?
Oh, thank you.
Again and
Wow.
again.
That's a nice gesture.
Just holler.
You will like it.
This is Naira.
Yeah.
Naira is bigger than dollar.
They are close.
They are close marking. They are brothers.
Close marking. Close marking. Once you change it in your country, you will see.
Yeah.
This one is just the beginning.
It's here.
Oh.
I want to give you the bigger shocker.
If you give them bigger money.
Bigger shocker. Our people say, Ane eku eku, ane eme eme.
Oh, that sounds very good.
Elder brother to this one. Elder brother.
Wow.
Confirm. Elder brother to this one.
Thank
We will
you.
make you feel good. You
Wow.
will never regret coming to this country. This is where you belong.
Oh.
Our late brother, our late village man, is in love with you. The way he's in love with you, that is how somebody like me will be in love with you deeper. I will go deeper with you.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
Wow, I can barely hold it with my. Thank you guys. I love you guys.
You love us.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I say, let me tell you, when I leave this country, I will travel. I would like to travel to your country with you. When we get there, we will walk. Both of us will walk. I will make more rubber.
Sprinkle, sprinkle.
Yes, make more rubber. This man, we
Wow.
don't show love by talking. We show love by showing doings.
Doings. I like that. Like, a lot of action, no talking.
Yeah. This girl, they game. This girl, they game.
Boy, eat it all. If you want more, give me a call. Yeah? Yeah, I'll give you more.
Yeah.
Wait, Emenike, what was that stunt over there?
Which stunt?
No, what was that stunt you put over there?
Which stunt?
The money you put over there. You shocked me, oh. But all this while you were walking calmly as if you were not holding block.
My brother, I want to ask you something. The other day we went to that place. Didn't you hear what that white woman said? She said she loves money. That money turns her on. There, they are not poor. They have money. They have it. All the ego. So she says she loves money. And you know women and money. I already know all this. That's why I prepared myself. I came prepared. That's why it's shocking you.
So that's why you were just doing things calmly and you overtook me like that. That's why you went ahead to give her that huge money. As a man, that huge money that you were holding, you can't even reduce some so that you can plan for your future. Went ahead to give your whole money to a woman. You will never make it to. That's why you overtook me like that. No, you have bad mind.
Who told you it's all my money? Who told you?
So even that blog, even that huge amount, you still have another one.
Yes. Things there. Let me tell you my plan. I will take you unawares. Yeah, I'm planning to take you unawares. You see this woman? I will spend as much as I can. Because Naman, they promise woman Lambo. Say, I promise you Lambo. So since I don't have Lambo, the little I have, I will spend it on her.
No problem.
I will spend it on her. I'll make sure she chooses me. She will take me to UK.
No problem.
When I get to UK, then I'll start taking care of you.
No.
Dog, when you finish meat, you throw the bone to the dogs. Yeah, that's how it.
Keep your help. No, keep your help. If you get money now, help yourself and help your family. No problem. That's why you overtook me. Okay, you were saying that, okay, a man promised a woman Lambo. I will tell you also that the same man that promised a woman a Lambo, the same man too will disappoint a woman. No problem. I will show you. No problem. No. Wait. Leave me. No, because I don't dey see you well because I said I dey work with you. You always behave as if you don't have money, but you overtook me. Meaning you have bad mind. You have bad mind. So I also show you that I have bad mind.
Okay.
Guy,
come, small, little boy. Little boy, is the smarter the better. Now who smart pass? So now
Hey! Oh, good, Oka. Good day, sir.
My brother, you're welcome.
Yes, I've been looking for this place, looking for you everywhere here, searching. I didn't even know that you are here. Thank God.
Or the Wanamba.
Yes, all the number. You know, something is pursuing me from home. It's very important. So I need to run. When you learn about okay. So it's very important. I decided to send the money. At least before I will get here, you must have received it. That's why I'm rushing.
I got your message.
It's very important.
I got your message.
Now that I've fulfilled my own bargain, please, don't fail me.
Yeah.
It's very important.
My brother, relax. You don't need to worry. Your document will be ready very soon.
Hey!
You already know my office. You don't need to worry.
Okay. It's very important. I need it urgently. I need to go.
My brother, relax. You don't need to be coming here regularly. Because I will call you myself immediately your documents are out. You will come and pick it. Don't come again. Just go and relax.
All right, sir.
Yes.
I really appreciate with my heart. Please. It's very important.
Don't worry.
My brother's property. Remember.
UK. Hey. No, you can't talk on the office.
I don't understand. You mean you want me to come and work as a translator for you?
If not like that, you won't put down. Now waiting, I want me you do. See, you know that my brother will die. That's your Akate wife who put for house. She know they understand the English why they speak. I don't try to explain. She know they understand me. And he get some guys when they come house, they pretend like say they like him, but meanwhile they don't like him at all. Pata, they don't like him. So I beg, come help me. They talk to her.
Amara, you see, those days, learn. You say no, school na scam. Now you see where it landed you. Huh? You see where it have landed you. You can't even speak good English. You'll be speaking broken English. Look at what you're doing to yourself. You can't even interpret the English you are speaking to someone else.
Now God go judge you. You see this course when you course me now. Now God go judge you. It's your better person. You just tell me say I be mumu, I be fool, so I no get sense. You don't need to just pass through the corners like this. Just course me, say I no book now. Say I no get sense. Small thing why you can help me do now. Word don't finish for your mouth.
No, Amara, wait. I am not trying to abuse you. I'm sorry. I was just kidding, I was just joking. You're a smart girl, just that but school is so important.
You go help me do the waiting I ask you, say me help me do that, you no go do.
I will help you. You know you're my good friend. And back in the days we were like this. So don't worry, I will help you. You understand? I will help you do everything.
We go now, be one time inside shop first, when you go walk. Which one make I know?
Don't worry, I'm not doing much thing today. I will help you. Let's go.
No
vex now.
I beg, go and no go vex.
Don't tickle me again.
No, I'm not gonna tickle you. I don't want to tickle you.
Then what do you want to do?
You know that I love you, baby. Yo. You look so beautiful.
Aww.
Now, come on, I love you.
Really?
A nice one.
Oh, Eminike. What is this now? Do you know the dream I was dreaming? Do you know what I was doing that you are supposed to spoil my thing like that?
What are you doing? What are you doing that somebody has not done before? What is that you were doing?
What are you even doing here? Have I invited you here? Is it your house? Why are some people like that? When you guys come in, some people are dreaming. Wait for them to finish the scene.
My brother,
do you know how important this scene was?
My brother, you don't used to invite me before. Me too, I don't invite you to my house before you come. What is the thing you were dreaming that somebody cannot hear word for you?
Do you know the romantic kiss I was about kissing with the white lady?
God forbid.
You have spoiled everything.
God forbid. Thank God I came on time. You were about to do what?
Kiss the white woman.
God no go allow you to do that. Next time, now if I go take cut off that. Lie down again. I want to take stone. If I know come out it for your mouth now, you don't say no.
You see this, the way this woman was just standing like this.
Lie down again and try to dream that nonsense.
You want hit me with...
If I know come out 6 teeth from your mouth now, you don't say no. Are you okay?
What's
You're
that?
dreaming on how to kiss who?
She was like this. I was like, baby, come.
Let me do the movie
I was like,
bench.
hey! What's up? Let me use for my dream. Let me use for my dream. Give me my kiss. Give me my kiss. Give me kiss.
Huh. So, Emenike wants me to be the one that will remain in this village while he goes to UK alone. What a bombshell. That will never happen. I will never allow that to happen. I must make sure that she doesn't marry him. As this girl loves money, this is going to be a big battle between me and Emenike. I will start giving this girl huge money so that I will impress her and she will take me to UK instead. This guy think he is wise. I will show him. Where will I even get this money to impress this white lady? Where will I get this money? God.
What? Are you serious? So that's why those guys were coming around here trying to be nice and loving.
Exactly. You know, she have been trying to explain all these things to you, but the fact that you are not understanding her English and you are finding it very difficult, that's why it's like they are still getting it going. I don't know if you understand.
See, tell them, say, na them hold that her picture. No, that's paper.
Okay, yeah. The documents, your documents you used to travel, they are the one holding it, and that is why you've not been able to find it. Yes.
Oh my God. Do you know what? I know how to handle bums like that. I know how to handle them.
Fine.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hey, sweetheart.
Chikandora.
Sweetheart, let me tell you. Sweetie, you and I, we're gonna work hand in hand. Okay? We're gonna work
She
together.
say, "On a two good talk, normal, like brother and sister, all those kind."
Okay, now
Hand in hand.
hand in
In
hand.
hand. And we're going to communicate better.
Oh, David. Okay. Over.
This one you are rolling your bike. I hope there's no problem.
Oh, okay. You have left that your place or this your new place?
My own place.
I want to sell this bike.
This bike is faulty now. Why would you carry a faulty bike to my place?
I'm laughing. Don't watch this bike like that, oh. Bike that Jay-Z was using. Pass to my taxi, come to my taxi. He shipped to Nigeria. Check the rim now.
So what do you want me to do with it?
Boss, I want you to sell it. I mean, if you can get somebody who can give me 300,000.
300,000. Okay, let's get to my shop. Then let me see if I can market it. Yes.
Okay, now, so I'll follow you.
Okay.
I'll follow you. David! David! David!
UK and Canada.
Yeah. Oh. Wait. Oh. This thing I'm about doing, how am I sure that I won't regret this at the end of everything? Because it's money, it's my life saving we are talking about here. Oh. I'm about losing my bike just to make money and make this white lady that who's her now?
Just because I want her to marry me. Eh? What if she doesn't marry me? Eh? What if she doesn't marry me at the end? I will just lose everything and I'll be in this village alone. No, nah. You be wise. You be wise. Eh? Emelike,
Why have I been looking for you everywhere?
what? Emelike, sometimes as a man, whatever you are doing, you have to sit back and calculate, formulate, imaginate, thinking about life, thinking about the decisions we are making. Emelike, we are not old. We are in our 30s. Emelike, it's not like we have made it in life. We have not made it. We are still processing our life to stand on our feet. But see, we keep giving our life savings to a woman, a white lady that we don't know anywhere. All because of love.
So what is your fear in it? What is your problem?
My brother, what I'm thinking right now is what we are doing good. Because I don't want it to be a situation whereby we will be giving all our savings to a woman and we will be 40 and we will be broke. Before you know, you'll be saying, had I known. Nobody will be taking you to hospital. You see, you'll be a young man, you have gotten stroke. Nobody is helping you. Because at this moment, we are pushing Ebuka to go and seize that woman's property and take her properties. You understand what I mean? You see where I'm coming from? Now, we too, our mission is to make that white lady love us, take us to abroad, and go and what? Claim her properties. Fine. If you allow Ebuka to achieve his dreams now, what then will be our inheritance?
This boy, see, I cannot say that you lack thinking. You lack the ability to think deep. And let me ask you, what is our aim? Why telling Ebuka to go and steal the woman's paper? What is our aim?
Tell me.
Our aim is for the woman to marry one of us, take us abroad. Then that person will start his life from there. Okay, let me ask you. These properties that we allegedly property that we are saying that Ebuka brother has, do Ebuka know the address to any of the properties? Has Ebuka been to abroad before? If the property is 10 now, how do we find all of them? Think. Our main aim is just to marry this woman. Immediately we cross, enter the country, we lost. Immediately you cross, enter, you lost. Very simple.
So, what if this woman don't marry one of us?
Ha! Hey, why are you becoming so negative?
No, I'm asking you.
Why are you being so negative?
You have to think of the bad thing. You have to think of the good thing too.
No problem. Think about the bad. I'm only thinking about the good. She will not take you. I'll be the one to travel, so you can be here. Don't bother yourself. Even if she choose you, reject it. It's like you don't have your brain. Your brain na kaba today.
No problem.
Get out, just follow me. I want to go and take one chilled bottle. That is it. So I'm risking it now. You can be follow me.
Emenike.
I want to go and take one or two bottles.
Squanike. We have to be careful.
You will not follow me.
Me as I'm doing this thing now, me where I'm coming from, my father couldn't take care of me. So anything I'm doing now, as I'm doing, I think of the back.
Emenike and Ibe are the best friends I ever had in this life. So very soon, I'll travel out of this country, claim my brother's properties in UK. Then I'll start living big. I will centrally appreciate Emenike and Ibe if I leave this country, claim the properties, and they come back. I will appreciate them very, very well. Very, very well. For the advice they give to me, the action that I've taken so far. Look at me. Look at me.
Obodo Igbo boy in the making.
Ah!
Odobu. It's well.
The bombs. 1, 2, 3. God. Father Lord, as I'm going to meet David, please sell this bike I've given you. Sell this bike. I don't want anything. Sell this bike for me. Once you sell this bike now, I'll just collect all this money. I'll go and give all this money to L'Oreal. Yes. Immediately I give the money to her, this girl will just give me that engagement ring. Now, Emenike will know that me, I dey run the street. For this guy mind, he thinks say, okay, he can go and give L'Oreal bigger money than me. Ah! 1, 2, 3. You don't know me. Emenike, before you think, I have thoughts. What a bomb say. Don't worry. Before I'm done with you now, you go know who control this road.
I have not sold the bike.
You have not sold the bike?
I have not sold it.
What is happening? People are not buying it.
If you are in a hurry to sell that bike, sell it to me. I'm willing to pay 150,000 naira.
David, 950. David.
If you need to sell that bike urgent, why don't you collect 150,000 naira?
David, that 150 is very small for that bike. Eh?
If you need that money urgent, why don't you sell it back to me? Sell it to me.
David,
I will pay you.
We are not marketing the bike well. Put the bike out there and market it well.
Do you think it's easy to market bike? It is not easy to market things these days. You even saw somebody that is willing to pay 150,000 and you're still wasting time.
Come. It's better I sell this bike because if I don't sell it now, Enrique will give this white lady more than I can give her. It's okay, you bring it.
Okay, that will be no problem. You will follow me to the house.
I have to follow you. You don't even have the cash.
I have 150,000 naira that I will give.
It's okay. Yeah, let's go. Okay, so if I follow you to your house, Uncle, if I follow you to your house, if I'm coming back, Uncle, will you give me the money? You always have to.
You have money now.
Oh, my lovely friends are here again. Welcome, but uninvited, but welcome.
My dear, how are you?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm okay. So we are here to show you love as usual. So I've got some goodies for you.
Oh, what's that?
You cool? No, not like I'm coming.
Thank you.
Like it?
That's fantastic.
Confirm. That is Nigerian money, the best money in the world.
Is this more than you brought me last time?
No, very close. Now just small thing I pull inside. I pull small thing out of it. Some don't go. My brother, let me advise you. Always let something there in your hand. Make it there in your hand, you get why. We will go. You get as body they do us.
Now you control the street.
Now we get the street.
Cut soap for me.
Soap don't finish. Bath like that, my brother. It shall be well, eh? Shall be well. Take heart.
Go show you say that made it. Produce this soap. I be manufacturer of the soap, my dear. Take out. Times 3 of what he gave you. 1, 2, 3.
Wow, that's massive. Wow.
You dey sell soap now. I be manufacturer of that soap. What a bomb say. I'll be your boss.
You know what? I actually, I have done some thinking, and I think I'll take the both of you with me to Canada. Yeah, but I can only marry one. And that one will own half of my properties, like my assets, share in the business, And the other one has to be the servant.
Let me be this. My dear, let me tell you something. In this country, this boy, they call him boy. Say boy.
Boy.
That's him, boy. He doesn't own anything. He just serve. He keeps serving.
See,
So he will serve us.
you will never go NYC. He didn't go to NYC.
I know apply.
They didn't post down. You know say you know apply. Olodo. You don't know book. No, what's the full meaning of NYC? No, what's the full meaning of NYC?
Hello, you guys should calm down. Okay, so the one,
What's the full meaning of NYC?
the one who brings me the most sprinkle will be the one I'll marry.
At the call. Oh, make a shock you.
Go say your property now.
At the call.
And yeah, let me church. Do you know the full meaning of NYC?
I don't.
You don't. To hold you together and kill you.
UK and Canada, America, Europe.
I want to understand something. You that doesn't have money, how were you able to raise over 100,000 to give to that white woman?
1, 2, 3. What a bombshell! I told you that I'll show you streets. Sometimes you think you have money, but I have the key to the city.
So
You
what
understand?
happened? How you take run on?
You know that my bag that Jay-Z was using later passed to Mike Tyson. After Mike Tyson use, come pour some, shift them to Nigeria. That my bike now.
That Belgian bike.
Yeah, that Belgian bike. I sold it for 150,000. Shock you. Don't try me.
Yeah, kidding.
1, 2, 3.
Are you kidding?
Why am I kidding? I sold that bike to David.
The whole
In fact,
bike-
David sold it for me.
Wait, I want to understand. Is it the whole bike that you sold for 150? Or you just remove the tires, the rim, and all these things?
What
for
are you
150?
talking about? David was even telling me he has even sold it for me at a highest price because go find out 150.
Wait. Do you know the value of that bike you just sold for 150?
If you go to the market, it's lower, but David sold it for me
Let
150.
me tell you. That bike is not less than 720 to 780,000. You sold it for 150. Let me tell you, I even have somebody that can walk into this place now and give you 650 without you pushing the bike out of here.
But David was also saying that in the market. Which market are you referring to? Where's your market?
You don't even. Where is my market? You don't even need to go to any market. I'm telling you that somebody, I can make a call now. Somebody will walk in here and give you a bag of 650 cash and push that bike. You sold it for 1 guinea.
150.
That's okay. It's a good price.
Oh, wait, David. No. So, David, you look a whole me to outsmart me. You lied to me. See, the reason why I don't like people, the reason why I have trust issues, my zodiac sign don't like those things.
Your zodiac sign na bike on they say.
David.
Everybody will die your zodiac sign na bike sellers. Because if not, I don't see the reason why you go. Sell your bike this low.
You clap for me.
Okay.
If I don't collect that my bike, if that boy, if I don't collect that my bike, collect that money join, make David change my name. No, is it me that David want to play
My
with?
problem with
Am
you
I a
is not
child?
that you even sold your bike. You sold it and gave the money to a woman. So you're on zeros now. Zeros. Who
So
zero?
David outsmarted me. Me, street boy. No problem. Or who you there now?
Ibe, get out of my sight now. Or
David, I don't want to stretch my hand. I don't want to stretch out my hand. Is it because you are called David, you were able to defeat Goliath? So you guys, anybody that is called David, they have this confidence. No try and miss error. No, you go collect 2 by 2.
Oga,
I tell you,
you must be very stupid. So you and I reached an agreement. You went ahead, used my hard-earned money, solve your problem, and you're back here talking trash.
You the crazy? Give me that money.
You see that bike? I'm not going to give you that bike again, and you're not going to seize a dime.
You not go give me my bike.
How much did I give you?
No be 150 you give me.
What did we agree? Is it not 150,000?
That bike 150? No, that bike. You see, like no.
But
like,
we
like
agreed that you're selling it 150,000.
You
and I
are not
gave you
okay.
150,000.
Let's say you are not okay.
Here to collect another
You are not
money.
okay upstairs.
After you have solved your problem.
You are not okay upstairs.
You see that bike? You are not going to see it and shish it in manful. So out.
See, make me mad. If I don't show you street now, if I don't point you this your shop, I change my name.
See,
no problem.
Out. What kind of nonsense is this? You gotta use my money and solve your problems, and you're here asking me for money. For what? Damn it.
Okay. This is the land. As you can see, it's a table land. No geographical whatever. Everything balanced. So I want to sell it off. I have a small challenge, monetary challenge. So I want to use the money for this place and solve one problem. So I want you to get me a buyer, fast buyer. Let me sell it off immediately.
Okay. Do you have documents to show that you are originally the owner of this property?
What document? This thing is an inherited land. This is my father's land, Anubim. This is Anubim. See, the main thing was, see my major land here. This side was my land.
This one.
But my elder brother now tried to overtake me. Bawazemba that he likes this side, that he's the one that we choose. Originally, my father gave me this side. My elder brother now chose this place, pushed me to this side. That is why he started this small, uncompleted upstairs here.
Okay.
And my elder brother started, but I cursed him there on DPC. I lay a curse on him. He will never come out of that upstairs. That's why you see 3. There's 3 already in the foundation. Don't worry, he go die there.
Be it as it may, you still need documentation, because nobody will buy you a land without seeing the papers of the land.
I don't have paper. When we want to sell it, we make the paper.
What I will do now is that I will prepare a paper for you. You will give me a token of 300,000 naira. And I'll prepare the documents for you.
Token?
300,000 naira only.
Now you call token 300,000. No worry, make we leave. The land is no longer for sale. Don't worry, you can go.
He says it's not for sale.
Don't worry, it's not for sale. You can go. I will get another better agent to do the selling. You can go.
See, come. I know you are aware that I am the only authorized land agent in this area. No agent is allowed to come and market this land for you, except me. Yes, especially the one that does not have papers. So no developer will carry any other agent and come here to buy the land from your hand. I am the only person. So the earlier you raise your 300,000 naira, bring it, then I find a buyer, we sell the land, and you get money back. So I'm going.
David, come. It is not obvious to me that when my father was giving me this land, that your name was there as the middleman. You are the middleman, because I see no reason why an unknown person will just appear from nowhere and tell me that my inherited land, my only property, that I cannot sell it except you are involved, and you will tell me how I will sell my land and how much I will pay first before I will sell my land.
Emenike, this is the modus operandi.
Okay.
As long as property management is involved.
Or the model or the proper is okay. It's proper. No problem. No problem. You can get somebody. When you sell the place, you take your 300, then we'll do the rest business.
No. Money for hand back for ground.
Where will I get money to give you? I'm telling you that I need
Go
money
and
to
rally around. Tell somebody before this time tomorrow, if the document is ready, I will sell it.
Oga, use your
give
money
back.
and do this thing. Are you not the one that will collect the money for the selling of the land? You take your money first and
No,
give
no,
me
no,
balance.
no. Go and borrow money. Tell them that you are sure that you are going to sell this land tomorrow. Then you can pay them back. I cannot start doing the documentation without any installment.
You will not die well, oh. I swear to God.
You don't want to sell your
You
land.
will not die well.
What a bombshell. Jesus. So wait, oh, if I allow Emenike to overtake me, this boy will go and give L'Oreal bigger money. And L'Oreal will like him, love him, marry him, take him to the UK. I'm laughing like Solodo. What a bombshell. Amy? Hey, this game is going to be bloody. No, Emenike, this is going to be Isakaba. I'm telling you, Emenike, this game is going to be bloody. I tell you. On this street, I will show you, say, I craze. I will show you, say, I'm mad long time ago, but I don't want to reveal myself. Okay, so if I allow you, this girl to marry you, you go to the UK, L'Oreal's property will all belong to you. You guys will turn me to servants. Me, eBay International, me. eBay big mind. AK, what a bombshell. AK, let me crave your garden and burn your bushes. AK, 1, 2, 3. This game is going to be bloody. Don't worry. Once I start with you, Emenike, you will know who get doings. Your father no get shops now. No, Emenike, your father no get shops. Your father don't. Me, it's because my father was wicked. That's why I'm still like this. So, yes. But Emenike, I will show you that I will go all out for this game. I'll be selling all my father's property. I'm telling you, this will be bloody. Your father will not make him now. Your father don't make him. Me, my father make him. He didn't take care of me. That's what my life look like. 1, 2, 3. Yes. But I'm going to show Emenike that, see, this is going to be a war front. I will sell this my father's property. I will gain billions. I will drop billions for L'Oreal. Automatically, that guy go fall. I'm telling you. On this tree, we go show who get doings. You don't know me. You don't know me. 1, 2, 3.
UK and Canada, America, Europe, I can't remain in Nigeria.
Does it mean that we don't have any other property agent in this area?
We don't enter.
Hey.
We don't enter. David is the only certified property agent in this area. Only him. We're in trouble.
Emenike, leave that one.
I don't know. Only him. Only David.
David and Goliath guy. He's an arm robber. Small little chance now he will chop your money. That boy.
But there's nothing we can do now. Anything we need to sell, anything at all, as long as he needs signing, lawyer or whatever, it is David. He's the certified person. So we have to be managing him. Me, I not say David na criminal. No.
Okay, now you know you want us to go and patronize him.
I will do the business I will do with him. I will manage and do the ones I can do with him. But me, deep down my heart, I know that David is a criminal. No agent in this life will get sense. All the agents are mad people. All of them criminal. It's either they are looking for her to chop you from caution fee, or they are looking for her to chop you from lawyer fee, or they are looking for her to chop you from. They must look for agency fee. They must look for something to chop you.
Nah, if you say I've heard you, but I mean that guy have issue with him. He's a liar. I'm not that fool.
UK and Canada, America, Europe,
Oga, I don't understand anymore. What is going on? What is delaying my traveling documents till this moment?
My brother, relax. I told you to relax. You worry too much. Relax.
Oga, you are telling me to relax, to calm down. when you have not delivered what I paid you for? Eh? You don't know the danger of this delay. You don't know something is at stake. It's very important to recover this whole thing. No.
I told you, this thing takes process. It takes process. You don't need to rush it. Eh? Just calm down. It will be out very soon.
Oga, please, please. Like seriously, I need to move. I need to move. No time.
I know. Just relax. I will make it faster. It will right in the business. Let me take this call. Hello? Yes. I'm in my office. Oh, Australia. Australia, they quite hard to get out, but I'm expert on that. I can do it. No problem. You can come. I'm in my office. If you go near. Only one actually boss on this country. Everybody wants to run away from this country. My brother, just relax. I will make it faster.
Just try. My own is very important too.
No
I need to go before they will take this thing away from me. I know why I'm rushing.
No problem.
Please.
Yes.
I know you will deliver.
I will deliver. In the business. Hello?
Oh, hi. How can I help you today?
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, I know that the people you came here to visit, they don't like you. They don't like you, so they don't like you. They don't want to give you what you eat, good things. They keep giving you gari, African swallow.
Is that the yellow stuff?
The yellow stuff. In fact, if you stay too much, they will downgrade you to the white one. That is apple. Give you apple.
So
I sold my father's land.
you did.
I brought you a huge amount of money.
Oh.
The money no pasa.
Oh, is
That
this $1 million?
1 million plus.
Oh. Wow. Hello. Oh. Do we have Billie Jean in the house?
African gorilla. Big gorilla. It's a big gorilla.
How much is? Yeah, it's. How much is it? How much is it? How much?
Fat Michael.
5 million to 6 billion.
Jesus. From where? From where to where?
Wow.
Where you collect that money?
Do you know what? Actually, hello? May I have your attention, sprinkle, sprinkle boys? I think I've made my choice. Yeah, I made my choice. It looks like you are winning the game. So, I think it's you I want because you're sprinkling. Aww.
Not the teeth.
Oh.
Not the teeth. Nothing you want to tell me.
You want to scratch my back? Oh, that feels good. That feels good. Bye. So, okay, I have things going, so you may be going now.
Oh, I should go right now?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. I'm going.
Sprinkle, sprinkle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going.
All right, bye. Take care of yourself. This is exactly what I need. Now I can go back to Canada. They're always bringing money, ready to bring more. Oyibo. Oh. I need to give this money to Amara so that her brother doesn't take it. Amara, can you keep this for me? Amara. Oh.
UK and Canada ofu obodo, America, Europe ofu obodo. A ga-erukwa ya eru. I can't remain in Nigeria. M ga-ejekwa na America.
Thank God you people are here. Thank God. What kind of thing is this now? What kind of thing is this? What kind of thing is this?
What is it,
What is it
The
again?
agent that you people connected me to. The man doesn't want to give me what I paid for. What kind of thing is this now?
Ebuka, stop that thing. What is wrong with you?
They tire me.
What is wrong with you? All the time you'll be acting as if you're not man enough. What is wrong with you? Ordinary agent. People leave this country every day, plane they full. You not going to even get flights. People are leaving just to go get tickets to go and get your brother's property. You are here disturbing somebody. Now we don't give you agent already. Are you not supposed to?
It's not ordinary. I have paid. I've given him my every money. I sell land 1 or 2. Say everything. Give away. You sell agent.
You look for another agent.
For which money? Will I say my which money? Which money?
Okay, which money? Oh yeah, let me tell you. For your information, let me remind you. You see your brother's wife. He will soon be out of this country.
Are you serious?
Okay, let me tell you something. For your information, you see your brother's wife. You know we are her best friends. She has already given us a hint. She has told us what is going to happen very
You don't
soon.
know anything.
She's leaving this country, never to come back again.
How now?
And once she goes, your brother's property will do.
No,
It will
it's
be
a
lost.
very big loss. I say this land, say this one, give the agent money, everything. We are.
You see, the one thing I don't like about this guy, he complains too much. You are not putting pressure. Put pressure. You can even pack your bag, go and sleep at the agent's office. 1, 2, 3. What is going on?
See, no problem. You see that man, Very soon he will see the other side of him. Very soon.
Calm on down. You are not the first person who has traveled. Calm on down. It is like that.
How can I see all the money? Hey, Chinedu.
Calm down. You
see which flight you go take? We give this one airpiece. The person will not get peace inside the line. Now airpiece one can.
Oh.
You don't put this boy for pressure. This boy go mad. Let me say Dana. Boy, don't get on that pressure.
Hey. Hi. My houseboy. Welcome. Sit down, houseboy.
Where the houseboy?
You now, you're my house. Are you okay? That's what you know what to do. That's all you know what to do.
Who is your husband?
You're my houseboy.
Go punish you.
Oh, okay.
You're calling me husband. How?
You're my houseboy now.
Me, your husband.
Okay, you don't know what is going on. Okay, you don't know as it stands now, I'm the one winning. Have you forgotten what the white lady told us? That anybody that will be giving more money to her, giving her more spunkle, that person will be the one she will be marrying and taking abroad. And as it stands now, girl, I got nothing to prove. Okay, I'm winning.
Okay, wait. Because your money is a bit bigger than my own today.
Yes!
And you think you are now on the top.
I've overtaken
you. Think you can now win.
1, 2, 3.
You are a mugu. Calculate all the money I've given to that lady and your own. Which one is bigger?
It's not about calculating. If it's about calculating, then the girl will calculate. She said now, present times. You are talking about past participle. We are talking about present times. I'm the one winning. You will be washing my shoes. You'll be washing my shoes. I'll be, sending you on an errand. You'll be washing the girls' Indomie pants. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
Yes, you'll be
that
our
one,
servant.
That one is not possible now. When I'm done marrying the girl, I will now know how to use you. I have my plans on how to use you.
How will you use me?
I don't need to expose it now. I will tell you what I will use you and do.
Me, I've not even started though. I'm thinking of selling. Okay, I've not told you. My father have 14 land. I'm thinking of selling all of them. I will give to the girl.
You give the girl.
Yes, you want to start this battle with me now? I'll show you streets.
Okay, you give the money to the girl.
Yes.
Anyway, she will use it and do some documents for me and take me out of here.
You use my money to do documents for yourself. Try am now. No, try am. Try use my money to do documents for yourself. Try am.
Did you just hit me now?
No, if I hit you, what will you do? Don't tell me that. Don't threaten me.
Now me, you just hit me again.
If I hit you, what will you do?
Hit me again.
If I hit you again.
Hit me.
Wait up,
David! Oga Dave! Don't be this side to say, dude. Oga David! David! My brother.
How far now?
Fine. I have emergency.
I hope no problem.
No problem. Just that I have another property I want to sell.
This one, you and your friend are busy selling off everything. I hope you guys don't want to run out from this village.
Oga, what is your business? Are you tired of selling property?
That is my work in this sale area.
How can somebody call you for deal and you are asking the person plenty questions?
No problem.
Your own, is it not sell property? Take your percentage and go.
Show me the land.
I don't like agents that talk too much. Come like this, Abel. I don't like agents like you that talk too much.
So I gotta say, you guys have shown me so much love, more than I expected in this community.
Baby girl, listen. You need not to worry. This is chicken change. We have not really started. This is just, the chorus. Yeah? Listen, if you're able to marry me, I'm ready to be your sprinkle. Just give me a chance. Let me just marry you. All this money I'm giving to you, all this Benjamin I'm giving to you, yeah? I'll give you more. Yeah. Just marry me. Marry me.
Wait.
Mm-hmm.
You no go like rest.
Let's happen.
No, I want to know if they get mental problem. You no go like rest.
Why should I rest?
Somebody that we are still talking to, we are still trying to arrange and let her use her church mind, use her good mind, and select between us who she like, who she love. You are already telling her if I marry you. Me and you, we agree say we go tell her, point for her who to marry.
Now, girl, everything shows that the girl they like me.
Who tell you say the girl they like you? No, I don't like this, so don't get me angry. Oh.
If I get you angry, what
no,
will you
don't
do?
get me angry.
What will you do?
Don't get me angry. I know what I'm saying. What is this?
About the marriage thing, it has to be on hold for now. I gotta tell you. But I assure you that once I get to Canada, I'm from Canada, by the way, not the UK.
Oh, it's the same. Canada and UK. It's just like taking one bus.
No, they're not the same. There's a Pacific Ocean between.
Specifically saying that lake.
Pacific Ocean.
Specific ocean.
It's not.
In any case, so once I get there, I will make sure that you guys get jobs over there. I will secure jobs for you guys. You have international passports,
No,
right?
we don't have. I don't have passport. Oh. I don't have passport.
So you need to apply for it.
I hear something now. What did you just say?
I said once you get your international passport, I will secure jobs for you over there. You apply for working visa.
Okay, you take us there.
Yes.
You apply for visa, working visa.
Working visa
you
in
will
Canada.
Take us there.
Sorry?
You said you will take us there. We find a job for us.
Yes, I will secure jobs. It's not a problem.
You have to ask the job. Oh. You go there. You start cleaning hospital.
You know what matter? Me, I can do anything. Let us get the passport now.
Yes,
so
go and apply for the passport, international passport.
That is
go
not
get
a problem.
Now 8, then they snap them.
Yeah.
8 pieces.
It's not a problem.
You do 8.
Yes.
Can't use scissors cut.
No,
come. We are coming now. We will get you
passport.
passport.
Passport, the passport.
Na
There's a-
eight, no be 8 in the snapper.
Yes.
8.
Akate,
Yeah.
wetin they can't do? They bring money come again.
Those boys are insane. They're really insane. They came here rambling and rambling. But yeah, anyway, they brought money. Let me show you. They brought
Money.
yes.
Okay. Wow.
You people said that you need international passport and work visa.
Yes.
Brother, you will hustle. My things are go so expensive now. Eh? The country is not in good shape. Like before, international passport was 200,000, but recently, now it's 300,000.
300 what?
Now plot of land. 300,000 naira. 300,000 naira
Wow.
for 8 copies. Not be something that they will just cut.
This is Scott and
Now,
8 pieces.
in this part was said before you open, nothing there. Now only your head like this.
Hello, my brother. Obviously, you people are not ready for this. So please, thank you for wasting my time. You people can go. When you are ready for this, you can come back.
Okay, your blood they hot to
No,
take
okay.
a listen. It's not like that. We are your customers now. Is this how you treat your customers?
What do you mean? Why will you be making jest of something very important?
You don't have customer relationship.
Hey, you don't have any customer
You know,
relationship.
customers are always right. Even if we are trying to make jest of whatever, you still have to take it out of it and still take care of your customers.
See, Idoka, it's okay. We know that's your price. 300,000. Yes, you have said your price. You know, we can negotiate. At least, we can give you 800. Make you do for us.
800 what?
800 naira.
You are not serious at all. Wait, do you think I'm talking about passport photograph? Normal passport photograph? I'm talking about international passport. International passport that you will have before they will start processing your visa.
Oh, okay, the whole book.
The book! The book! 5 years!
The pamphlet.
Yes!
English change them.
Yes,
National
ma'am.
and international passport. All of them.
You should have told us now. Say the pamphlet. You're talking about. We thought only the head, the photo, only the picture.
See,
It's okay. It's okay. Because you have said the pamphlet. At least in the last, let's give you 500 naira.
my brother. Please, I was very busy. I thought you people came here for a business, but from the look of things, you people came here to joke. I was very, very busy before you called me that you need this international passport or document to travel. I only told you the amount for international passport and you are shouting, making jest of the whole thing. If I tell you millions that is involved in visa, millions, you will just go and kill yourself. My brother, when you are ready for this business, you can come back. Oh? Please go.
We'll come back.
Yeah,
Come back.
Come back.
No, come on down. Come on down.
You can just test me how much the thing is.
Go. You need to go there for man achieve your travel.
Very easy. I don't think I'll be doing this thing again. I think I need to quit. See, this is our investment. I'm no longer finding it fun.
You want to quit? What are you talking about that you want to quit? Look at the money we have spent, the sacrifices. Passport alone, 300,000 naira. In my mind, I will not pay, but I still have to pay. It's big now. It's money. I'm wasting money. Because what if this deal no source? But I have to pay because of what? I have to keep on going. You have to dream it. So please, if you are saying that you are come to stop all these things we are putting in, you will be the one that you lose. So me, I don't want to lose. Because I'm not going back. Oh.
No, I will give it a try.
Give it a try.
We go pay the money now.
Yes.
We go chase them. Last small challenge.
Last,
Challenge.
even if we pay everything and we even lose safe, we still there abroad now. Yes. Last, if we go to abroad and this woman show us Wagadre, and we are not even able to get that property or even get that woman to marry us. Last, we are in abroad. Yeah, so we have to keep on going. Me, I'm not going back. I can't spend all this money and later come and lose. So
It's true, Sha.
Mhm.
It's true. We go run am.
Go run am.
We go run am.
Go run am.
I just pray this thing she said she will take us abroad. Not true. That's my own. Just say do paper now. We'll go and spend all this money now. 1 or 2 will happen.
Need to slap am. I go beat am for airplane.
Give me water. Give me
I
water.
don't get water. Oh.
Oga, go give me water.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. It was a mistake. Sorry. It was a mistake. Okay. Sit down. Sorry. No verse. Sorry. I said sorry.
Tell you, I want to tell you my own
I
sorry.
said sorry.
I want to tell you
Why
sorry.
you want to? I said sorry now.
Sorry, yeah?
Promise. Idiot.
Sorry.
Go to your house. Promise.
Nobody say I can say don't define since with this. Right? Now we say I can say don't define since. So now you able to hide that. Common sense no dey common. The head nothing there. Now here able to hide this thing. Wahala no dey.
Amara, thank you so much for helping me find my documents. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
You know, as I come there outside, I come dey sweep, I come see this thing. I open am, I come see am say e get this thing where you define documents. I open am, come see your picture, your passport.
Yes, passport.
I come see am. I come know say true. You tell me say you define am, abi? I come see na your own. I come bring am.
Well, you know, without this, I would have to go to Abuja to get another one, you know, and how can I go there? I don't know your system. I don't know anything in this country. It would be very hard for me, difficult to go to Abuja and get another one. So you really saved me, just like an angel. Like a guardian angel. You helped me get my documents, so I wouldn't be stranded.
Angel the black. I think say angel they be Oyibo like you.
Maybe they can be both colors.
Okay, they see white angel, they can see black one. The black one they all be like me. I be I fine.
No, you're fine.
I fine.
You look so much like your brother.
What is the meaning of this?
Oga, Oga, not the meaning.
Eh?
I need my money back since you can't get this work done.
See, what's the meaning of this? My friend, I've told you several times to stop disturbing me. You will get what you paid for.
Oga, I know there for this. Not be to carry plenty funds. You must give me my money back. Since you can't deliver the work, give me my money back now.
Yeah, okay. Eh? You need your money back. You must be a joker. My friend, I've paid for your documents and they are processing.
Oga, I'm tired of these excuses. I'm tired of processing. Every time you are processing for how long? Haba! Give me my money back. No time. I don't understand. No time, give me.
My friend, let me tell you, let this be the last time you will stop me for this. I will not take it again from you. Let it be the last time. When your documents are ready, I will call you to come and pick them. Don't disturb me again.
Oh God. Okay, it's very important though. It's very important.
Visa.
Not be to where we are Awuro. My problem is not Awuro matter. You wear up and down every look at how many foods you Chineke. Let it not be that you use my money buy plenty food. So see, Oga, you must give me my money. I know there for every time. In short, you must give me now.
UK and Canada, America, Europe,
I don't know, but I don't It's none of your business. Don't ask me. Is it your business?
As body dey pepper you like this, so I get wetin I go tell you now. We go make this your body pepper you well. You see that thing where you hide, wey belong to Akate? I don't go and hide am.
You see? Amara, don't play with me. I don't have time for. In short, you say, you mean you return that document? You return the document to that Oyibo? No try, if you try that, sure, let me check. I don't have that. Hey! You're still
Doc, now that we have paid for everything, I hope it's one. I don't want a situation where you will call us back now and say, bring money for this one, bring money for the other one, tax this one, tax that one. You know, on our style, we like one is one. As we don't seal them, make you seal them. Don't call us emergency now and say there is another small money we need to bring. I will not take that one.
Ibe, you don't need to worry. Just go home and relax. Don't worry, I will make sure I process everything as fast as possible.
See, we understand you are professional, but the thing is, we are not going to relax. Like you were saying, you do it as fast as possible. So we will be expecting as fast as possible. Yes. You understand? We are not going to sleep. Just relax.
I will call you on the phone. Once your documents are ready, I will give you a call.
No problem. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
UK and Canada, America, Europe,
Udoka must give me back that money. Look at the time. Let me look for another person now to prepare this thing for me. I don't have time at all. Look at Amara. I don't know the evil spirit that took Amara to where I hid this document. She went there and carried the thing back to Onyocha. And now I'm not ready. And that Onyocha can leave at any time. That is a very big loss. Look at Udok is telling me today, tomorrow. I'm not ready yet. I've not seen paper. I've not seen passport. Nothing. So what will I'm talking that you people are playing. What is this now?
We shouldn't stretch again.
Stretch. Now you remember that your back is paining you.
I have back pain. See, my guy, Ebuka, it seems like you have not traveled before. When you are doing document preparation, it takes time. It's a process. Even you've got it. They've given you 2 weeks or 1 month. Some people are getting 3 years.
4 years.
I'm telling you, it's a process. Once your money goes, they can't give your money back
at all.
It's normal. It's logic.
The delay here is dangerous. You know what I'm saying? The delay here is getting out of hand. It's dangerous. See, I'm suspecting that man. I'm suspecting this Udoka. This man I'm suspecting he's a scammer. Since I've been sending money to this man, he changes clothes, he wears up and down tomorrow, he wears today, he changes palms, he changes phones. And his is adding the other day the size is not the same size that I saw.
It's growing tall.
It's adding. And that's my money.
What if Udoka is a scam?
Okay.
What if he's a scam?
I don't think he's a scammer. You know, it's a document preparation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, see, the thing is, yes, don't worry. See, you go there and go and check it. Go there.
Wait. You know, we have invested a lot too. See how much we just gave to him. What if this guy is a scam?
Okay.
It will be a very big problem. My guy, go and check. Confirm. If he's a scammer, you let us know. Who is our fight? We'll fight him together.
Who will I ask if this man is a scammer or not? How will I know? Who will I ask?
Don't worry. He's not going anywhere. The thing is, you have not traveled before. That's why you are, anxiety and all this.
No time. It's very important. I have these papers today, tomorrow. It's very important. No problem. Let me go and check. I will come back.
Calm all down. Calm all down.
What if Udoka is a scam?
Yeah, I don't think he's a scammer, but I don't know from.
Listen, Ibe, if Udoka is a scammer, heads will roll.
I'm just laughing. That guy go take our money around.
Blood go flow.
Make you not try him. Make you not try him. This is a matter of life and death. But looking at him, the way he was holding that key. That key na Lexus key.
Na Lexus
key.
And you know, say na Yahoo Boys uniform.
Nah, Yahoo Boys uniform.
With GLK. Their uniform.
But the guy was calm, talking calmly. Very tall. Normally tall people.
They feel say they get sense.
They feel say they get sense. But we shouldn't.
Maybe not think.
Yes, maybe not put our mind there. Maybe guys.
No.
Because our hearts. They are hard.
You don't go good. You know, make I stretch your body.
It's okay.
Maybe not think.
Before you know, that guy go just stand there, go give him 2 by 2.
Let's go die.
Have you guys already done the application for the passport?
We are not joking. We are serious about this traveling. As I'm talking to you now, everything is ready. Our visa, we have packed our bags, passport, everything is ready.
And my dear, are there other things we can do for us to be more ready for the travel?
No, don't worry. I will take care of everything.
You take care of it.
We did it like this, oh. We did it like this. You okay? You know, if you go there, too much code now. Too much code. So please, so when we go to the UK,
Canada.
Oh, Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Vancouver. Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, Vancouver. So right in front of the entrance of Vancouver, before I enter the country, we would love to buy our winter jackets there.
Oh,
yes, we don't want to use Nigeria own.
Oh,
too much cold.
Good to know.
Winter jacket now.
Winter
jacket.
My dear, hope he talks too much.
Well, I
talks
mean,
too much, right?
Maybe you're the mastermind. Who knows?
Wait, you won't enter that country with coldness? Cold go catch you.
Yeah, you know, be by church. If you're there in front of Oyibo, coordinate, be in your best behavior. How can you be here? They talk blah, 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 blah. Make I tell you, you know how they go take crap you when cold they catch you. Even Lazarus will die, you know how they take crap him.
Hey, so you go there with this your clothes?
Bare body. When I reach there, the weather go talk how I go take dress.
Hey, na snow go kill you.
If you can't go there, come be saying and when they get heat in come. You know the weather when you take the heat.
See you. Have you traveled before?
I too
go there. Make we.
Don't
mind this guy. Don't mind this guy.
Dear, talk to the mastermind. You're good.
I'm good. Yeah.
No,
So
look at me. You're good.
I'm good.
I'm the mastermind. Confirm.
Don't worry, you'll be out of this country soon.
No be by church.
What you talk? No, what you talk?
No be by church.
Okay, if you go there now, you want
No be by church.
no, you want weather to kill you.
Whatever you see there, you take.
Ebuka,
Amara.
this one where your eye dey red, dey comot fire, but they come the pepper you join. Wetin dey happen?
Amara, the traveling document, the visa, the passport, everything. I've not gotten any yet till this moment. Eh?
That one make body dey scratch you. Go calm down now. Before person dey fly, go fail for waka for ground. You never even waka, you won't fly. Na small, the thing go come out.
Oh.
But hope say they don't snap you picture.
How? I don't understand.
As you dey go do this your passport thing now, so they go for your traveling documentation. They supposed to don wetin dey call am? Capturing They supposed to don capture you now.
Since I've been going to this guy's office, I never snap any picture or any capturing. No, I never snap
They
any
don't
picture.
dreambo you. They don't dreambo you like this. You don't somersault. As they go, they do these things. So they supposed to don't carry you enter their office. You go come stand like this. Then they will come snap you picture.
No.
Head picture.
No. Since I never stand like this anywhere, since that time till now, snap any picture. I can't remember doing that.
They don't leave you for back like this. They don't leave you for back. Can't give you dusting. They don't leave you. So you know so they snap picture.
Amara.
Ebuka.
But how come you know about all those capturing picture, passport, all those? How come you know about them?
No worry. Cool your mind. I go shock you.
Hey! Ibe, I told you people. I told you and them many case. I think I've been scammed. I told you people. I've been calling this agent since morning till now. He has not been taking my calls. He's not taking any of my calls till now.
Are you serious?
I'm telling you the truth now.
No, wait, we don't be overthinking. Maybe they don't have lights. Maybe
I said I've been in his office since morning 3 times today. Even till now, I'm just coming from there. I didn't see anything that resembled that animal.
Eh?
I did not see that gorilla. I'm telling you, and you are still here. Where is Iheme?
1, 2, 3.
Hi, my land.
You've been calling him since morning. He's not picking up.
It's not big even till now. I don't know whether the phone is
Have
still
you
on.
gone to his shop?
I said 3 times. I'm just coming from there. What? Hey, God, my land.
Jesus.
I told you people, my money, my land, everything. Look at the onion.
This guy just want to die premature death. Let's go, follow me.
He's not taking my calls.
Why do this guy want to die premature death like that? Let's
UK and Canada, America, Europe, Agerukwa Yero.
I said, don't give me passport, I got the win. Anything then do, I got the win. I got the win. I got the win. Anything then talk, I got the win. I got the win. I got the win.
Mama, stop this. Where are you coming from?
I go collect my traveling documents.
Look am. Seeing is believing. Open am, make you check am.
Your passport. Wait, you are traveling to where? Back to Benin, or are you changing location to Lagos?
You know they rate me. Which Benin?
You supposed to
As
go
you
back
dey
to
look
Benin.
me like this, you go dey call me Akate. Because this na my passport to comot for Nigeria.
Now, Akate, you go dey call me. My name don't change from Amara to Akate.
You mean this is everything? This is your traveling.
Open now,
document.
make you see. I don't move. I don't come out like this.
You dey see am? You dey check am?
How did you manage to get this passport? How did you process it? Come on.
Abeg give me make you no dey used to your hand.
How come?
You know that my friend wey dey come here, wey dey call it fine. Na him carry me go fiam to immigration office.
Hi.
Na there I go sign. Na him dey give me o.
So, how did you get the money to process this passport?
That time wey you and dem Igwe dey migrimo, una dey migrimo like this, na think say Akate no know wetin una dey do, abi? Una be enemy of progress, and she come know. Una go dey claim say una love am, meanwhile una no even love am. Now she come still say okay, as e be say I help am, now she sef help me.
So since you've been planning to leave this country without telling me your brother, hey God, Mbano now, hey.
So Amara, I gotta tell you that I've never like experienced this kind of love that you have shown me in this house, and really, there's no better way to appreciate you, to thank you, than to give you a better life.
You understand what she talk? She say,
I don't understand that small Vasabi who saying.
I want just explain.
Shut up, I know ask you. She say she won't thank me, abi. Say everything what I don't do for her. See, me sef, I thank God for this art wey be say I get. Na so I just be better person. Na so life don't carry me dey go. So me, I won't say if me I no love you, we be my brother wife. Now who I go call the love now? Another person know the way I go show love. You understand what I
do you understand what she's trying to say?
Yeah, I'm getting her clearly. Like, it's just that I can't really speak the way she does.
Yeah,
but I understand everything nowadays. I really do get you. So
she did get you clear now.
She
So-
don't dey get me.
She already get you
So-
clear.
She'll soon dey talk like me now.
No, she don't fit talk like you now.
So to the point now, I actually wanna take you with me when I go back to Canada. So what I will do for you is that I will help you with a scholarship so that you can get a academic visa. That's a school visa to study abroad.
Be like say this one strong, small. Wetin she talk?
She say she won't carry you go Bodo Ibo.
Eh?
You go start school for there.
Not
Scholarship. Oh.
Hey! My sister, you don't hammer.
Akachi?
Wait, make I finish the gist. Say you go come start academy for there like school. You go dey go school.
Akate?
Na scholarship. Oh.
You dey carry me dey go there?
Yeah.
Like you won't come carry me go there?
Yeah.
Hey!
Don't you shout. Don't you be like this person. Don't be like that. No, calm down.
Carry me dey go. Akate, carry me dey go, carry me dey go. Akate, carry me dey.
Hey!
Akate, thank you. Hey, thank
Okay.
you. And God go bless you. Hey, hey, thank you. Hey, Akate, thank you. You see, now God carry you come my life. Now so God say they do something.
You know, say I
Now
be
so
your
God
It's
say
the
father.
only thing I have after my husband. So I need to really take that into consideration. Actually, there are some things you need to get. Okay, there are some things you need to get. It's not just to travel. You need to get a visa. You need to get a visa.
like that thing wey you
first.
can't define that time.
Well, I don't need a visa. I'm a citizen
No,
already.
that one where you can't define. I need
passport.
my own now.
Yes, you need a passport.
Okay.
And they're gonna stamp your passport with a visa, and that's what I'm gonna help you with.
You know, see,
You
the
get it?
local go dey help you. You know, let me they help you. So
If you come in
reach
look again, I go knock you for
there,
head.
if you reach them, you help me too, my guy. That's passport now, which you define that time. I won't tie, but
I can't get down.
eh,
That my picture can't dey. Hey! Carry me dey go. I can't carry me dey go. Carry me.
So you applied for scholarship and the thing come out like this. Are you serious?
They calm down. Allow me talk. So, as if I can't carry me reach there, I sign finish. Now they can't snap me picture. As they snapping the picture, now I take go there today go collect am. So you wey be say you tell me say one man they do your own, but till now you never snap your picture. I don't know wetin you do talk now they do. Like this now, I don't pot. Call me Amara Akate. I don't move. Anything I do, na God the
I know
na
this thing.
God the
And I've been suspecting this man is a fraudster. This man is a wayo man. This man do me wayo, play me wayo. My land. I say 2 plot of land. The money, where is the money? Where is paper to travel? Where is Onyocha? How many can the and the eBay? Mbano, I can't leave this one. I'm on hook.
Hey! Hey!
My land.
Countability.
My money.
Countability.
My 2 plot of land. eBay.
Countability.
See, let me tell you. You see Udoka? Anybody that knows where Udoka is should go and tell him to stay wherever he is. If not, if I set my eyes on Udoka, nothing will stop me from buying him.
Hey. See, swearing will not solve this problem. It's better we go back there and look for that man. And look for this annoy here. Let's go back and look for him. I don't know what is going on. No, I can't take this thing again. I'm not me and you there here. I feel that any moment from now, if this thing continue like this,
Oh, countability. Ebuka, calm down. Ebuka, calm down. Udoka. See, wherever you are, baby boy, find one African country and stay there. Set up one business and stay there. Because if you come to this community, even Timothy 14:14, he says what? Let them die premature deaths.
See, have you people been calling him? Have you tried calling him to know whether his line is going?
We have been calling him. We have been calling him, and his number has not been connecting at all. Meaning that he did something. Maybe he blocked our line or he off his phone. What to do?
So this is true. What will I tell my God when I reach there? Okay, see what we do. I have my second line. I have not used that number. Call him for once. So we'll try it and know whether I don't know.
Oh, you're gone.
Maybe I'm thinking maybe network
problem.
problem.
Our number.
It's ringing.
Put up for speaker.
Put up for speaker.
Okay.
Hello.
Who is this?
Jesus.
Okay, is this people the guy that gave you money for international passport and for traveling stuff something now?
Look. I don't know anybody and I don't have business with anybody. See, don't call this number again. Don't try this number again. I don't know you.
Is Ebuka now? Ebuka, the guy you know, the one that paid. You don't hang up.
You don't hang up.
Leave him. In life, you don't hang up. Just forget him.
Leave him.
Shebi hang up. He hang up the call.
He just called the call.
If we no hang him, see, whenever we say, if we no put a rope here, if we no hang him as he hang this call, we no say no be me.
See, Emenike, I say I'm smart, but Idoka don't show me he is smarter. To the extent that the shop that he even took us is not for him.
But what do we do now? Should we go to is any shrine available? Any shrine? Let me go and lie down there so that because that gorilla have traveled with my money. 2 plots of land, my brother's property. What is all this? What will I tell my God when I reach the land?
Go and use shrine. We know what to use.
I don't know any shrine.
You go.
You ain't no na shrine. You want to collect your money?
Go shrine. Go.
We have our own means.
You have our own means. You go.
I'm not going. No, we have to go. I'm not going. No, we have to go.
Are you okay? Is this your house?
We have to go. I beg.
See this.
What will I do? Where will I go to? How this?
Go to your house. Let me also do your house more now.
This is my house now. I'm not going anywhere.
Let's say you mad though. Is this your house? Leave my house.
Lock this thing. May we leave the place for them. Lock.
But you people push me to do this thing. No, look at my loves. I love the. Ibo, I will die. Oh.
You don't know.
Leave my house.
You for come back now. No, you for come now. Mugu, you for wipe and for you.
Only you, they don't chop your money.
See where you for wipe and let him for you.
Now what for this guy? Now only you, they don't chop your money. Very foolish boy. Very stupid. Hey! Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Oh, Emily, sorry. Oh, Emily, sorry.
UK and Canada, Ofobodo, America, Europe, Ofobodo, Agerukwayeru. I can't remain in Nigeria.
Hey! Ebuka! What is it? What has happened?
What's the problem? Who is for you?
Is it true?
True. What happened? What?
Tell me it's not true.
Wait, what now? What is it?
We heard that your sister and Lauren has left this community last night. Is it true?
See, they say that their flights have to move early in the morning. That's why they left last night, so that they can move early in the morning to UK. If they have not gotten there.
Hey! Chineke bere. Akwala no maka tiri okuko aki. Wait, their flight is leaving this morning.
As I'm speaking with you now, they're on their way. If they have not gotten to UK.
Jesus.
I'm telling you.
All our investments. My God, they borrow. Everything. Ni me go to you. Hey! Ibe na lukwa. Ibe, are you not here?
No, see.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. You idiot. They are telling you I should take this. I told you. I want you. Take this thing here. We should be careful.
I lost my own money too.
If I punch you there now. If I punch you there now. You see, my life savings. So I follow this your stupid competition.
My land too. What of my land?
Idiot.
Idiot. So because of
I blame you.
Are you not mature enough to take risk?
Am I not? Didn't I tell you that what we are doing is we should take it easy?
Don't you know that as a man, you are meant to take a lot of risk?
And you influence me that I should put money above.
Did I not put my own?
I go put 30. You go put 1 million. Are you okay?
You are mad. Idiot.
You will have to leave my
house. Come here. What do you mean by you put your own?
Pick that boy there. Idiot.
UK and Canada, Ofobodo, America, Europe, Ofobodo, Agerukwayeru. I can't remain in Nigeria. Ngejekwana America. Asimagerukwayeru. Ebukechebe go Canada. Ekwaya na America. Nefezikwa n'ikuku. Tanjebo obodo oyibo. Makado obodo oyibo dị mma. America makakwa. Asimagerukwayeru. UK and Canada, Ofobodo, America, Europe, Ofobodo, Agerukwayeru. I can't remain in Nigeria. Ngejekwana America. Asimagerukwayeru. Ebukechebe go Canada. Ekwaya na America. Nefezikwa n'ikuku. Tanjebo obodo oyibo. Makado obodo oyibo dị mma. America makakwa. Asimagerukwayeru.